Yo, it's Grapsody with Will, Phil, and Reg, trying to keep it real instead of what you usually get from these talking heads. It's Grapsody, we're here to fill the void. 3 black fans, different perspective, gotta fill your voice. Coming with the podcast, talking majors, indies in between. Yeah, it's all that, and we're down with Fight for Better, fall back. Coming for respect, we connect like a ball bat. No need to double check, these are all facts. You're listening to us talk raps. You're listening to us talk raps. Will, Phil, and Reg. Yeah, we're Grapsody, here to talk raps. Yeah, we're Grapsody, here to talk raps.
Hey, folks. Sorry we're late. But blame Sean Ross Sapp for that. And legitimately blaming Sean Ross Sapp for that. Because how, Sean, are you going to set us up for success, like, for... I don't know how many straight weeks we've been doing this shit.
Come on, bro.
It's been, I believe, 48 straight weeks. And then all of a sudden, didn't set up the stream for us. Luckily, I knew how to do that. And had I known, I would have just done it. Mm-hmm. I could have done that all along. But Sean, putting this on you,
SRS with all his
buddy.
wrestling news and his cell phone, trying to work all the time and be working and getting scoops all the time.
I know.
Come on, man. Leave these guys in these internet streets alone, man. Like, got guys out here dropping whole freestyles about my guy. What's going on?
Man, talk about see me in
what
these
was
streets.
that?
I don't.
Oh
that was
my
weird.
God,
that was super
dope.
weird.
Hey, folks, welcome to
Really weird.
Welcome to Grapsody. I'm Will Washington in my white tee, and this is literally the first thing I found in my drawer this morning. And I was like, you know what? I'm just white t-shirted on the show today.
Baby.
And I'm also joined by Mr. Philip Lindsey.
It's me. Powered by Rode mics as always, but yeah, it's me.
And also here is Righteous Reg.
You already know it's your boy, Media Man, your favorite rapper, your favorite writer, your favorite podcaster. Rode mics in the fucking building.
Rode mics.
Very excited to be here, man. It's Saturday morning. What a time, as always. Wrestling news is crazy, insane. We could talk about 500 topics this week, honestly. So, yeah, man, I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, wrestling news was pretty insane this week.
Well, Washington's in the wrestling news this week and shit, too. That could be a topic, I guess, if we wanted to get into it.
I did want to elaborate on some of that stuff because this is a good place for me to do so. So, yeah, I'll have a little bit more on that story. Don't forget, give us a thumbs up right here on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Fightful, if that's where you're watching. Also, that's a place where you can send us your super chats. Those help support what we do here and help support Grapsody. Like it does. It very much does. We would not be able to do this without your support and your super chats and your humper chats. So shoot on over to humperchats.com and we can read those and then also send us your super chats. We got a few right now. Where should I start? God, man. All right, we got a whole bunch of humper chats. Do you know what? I love the humper chats because you can send those at any time of the day, whereas the super chats have to come while we're doing the show, right? So there's a little bit of an active difference. So if you do want to send us super chats all throughout the show, go ahead. But if you're like up at 4 a.m. and are like, man, I want to send Grapsody something, but I don't know if I'll be up when or around when the show's on. Humper chats, best way to do that. And also, I didn't even talk this over with you guys, but I'm just gonna say it out loud because why not? Y'all want to do another Ask Grapsody this week?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right.
Ask all the way in.
Yeah. FightfulSelect.com is where Ask Grapsody takes place. It's not a weekly show yet. But if we want it to be, it could be. But there just needs to be more content with that. But as stories have broken this week and there's lots of stuff, we are happy to talk about it and answer any questions. But I got stuff to talk about today as far as all that's concerned. Hey, let's read the oldest of the Humper Chats. This is a new name I haven't seen in the Humper Chats before. So shout out if you haven't Humper Chatted before. This one is from Laws. It says, question for the Grapsody fellas. Big fan of the show. I wanted to ask you guys who you think is winning the Starks and Hobbs match at All Out. I can't figure out which of the two guys Tony sees as the bigger star and who they are elevating with this match. Ooh.
Um,
I feel like, see, Hobbs has gotten so much out of it, right? Already, where Hobbs has gotten the new entrance. He's been hitting some mean spine busters. Did you see Rampage last night? That man is hitting some mean ass spine busters. He's been looking really good. He got the essentially, club the shit out of Ricky Starks' neck. Hobbs has been looking great. So because of that, I feel like he needs the victory less than Starks does, because to me, I feel like Starks has to get some kind of revenge for what took place with his big homie.
It's hard because I don't want it for my big homie to feel like he gets to the dance and then like every time he gets to the big show, he loses. And so it would be great for him to get a victory. But saying all that, it's Ricky Starks' time like a son of a bitch. That promo that he did on Dynamite was like, all right, yo, strap the rocket to the homeboy. Like, it's hard to deny. So I mean, I want my big homie to get the victory so bad, but like Starks is like on his way, his way.
I actually don't think this is hard to predict at all. I think Starks is winning. And I understand. I understand why people think it's hard to predict because they like Hobbs. And so some people just want Hobbs to win, but just with the story they're telling, it kind of doesn't make sense for Hobbs to win. Right. But I understand why people want Hobbs to win.
Yeah. I don't know. I see the same thing. So we shall see, fellas.
Okay.
It's a good question, though.
Yeah, great question.
And I'm just glad to see those guys get the pay-per-view spotlight.
Awesome. Amazing. We have two very important matches happening all out.
This is the most important.
Yeah.
This is the most important match, I would say, of Hobbs' career for sure. This
big time, far and away. I mean,
can I just point
the
out
CM Punk match though? I don't know. That's like, whoa, that's
I mean, I know. I know what he would say because he was on this very show and CM Punk. Yeah. He got to have CM Punk in Arthur Ashe Stadium. Yeah, that's a big ass deal. But to get that. Can I just point out though?
Oh,
go ahead.
Because the thing last year was there are no black people on this card, man. I kept hearing that last year, and so at the time I was like, it'll come. You got to get certain people ready. It'll come. Where are we at a year later? Hobbs and Starks wrestling together.
Claim versus titles, two black teams.
TBS championship.
If this is where you're following me, do you know where I'd be going? Chess pieces would be going crazy. Like, stop talking to me crazy, bro.
Jade and Athena, it's like, come on.
Listen,
man.
three matches.
We are very much
matches.
It's a great time across the board, I think, right now, and so I'm happy to see it. We also got. What's the next one? So we said Laws. Okay, Anwar says, much love to the audience watching and the panelists. What was your favorite video game as a kid, and what is your favorite as an adult?
As a kid, that's an easy one. Sonic 2. Still one of the greatest video games of all time.
Big slapper.
I do love Sonic 2. I did, as a matter of fact, I love Sonic 2 so much that 2 weeks ago, when all the nuclear code stuff was happening, and I made the joke that the nuclear code was 1965-917, not enough people appreciated that was the level select code to Sonic 2. And then I even said after that, I was like, oh, and then if you want to unlock super nuclear, it's 4126, which was the supersonic code for Sonic 2. Sonic 2 is definitely up there. Only thing I don't like about Sonic 2 is that, and granted this wasn't the case as a kid, but it's the case for me now, that is the easiest Sonic game. There's an achievement in the Xbox version of that game for beating it in under an hour, and I was like, there's no way I can get that achievement with my eyes closed now. And that was, I don't know, that's really, like, to me, the easiest of those games. But that's a good choice. So
that's a great choice.
Favorite as a kid. Define kid. How?
I don't want to just say wrestling.
Define kid sounds crazy.
I know. And what I mean by that is, what's the cutoff of what age is the cutoff for being a kid? What would you say?
Like, I thought we started talking about Velveteen Dream and Austin Theory.
I thought we were jumping into that R. Kelly Torre interview where he was like, "What is a kid anyway?" Like, yo, no R.
I don't think that's going to be our content for today.
No R. We know what a kid is. Like, come on. Dream. Stop
I mean, as far as I'm concerned.
They see defined kids in your text messages. They're like, "Yo, you are going down, sir. Come down to the station immediately."
Okay, I'm gonna say kid for me cuts off at like 10, right? Okay. 10. And the answer doesn't change. It's probably Sonic 2.
Sonic 2.
No. As a kid, it was Street Fighter. No shit. Mortal Kombat 2. Mortal Kombat 2 is it. That's the one. That's the one right there. It's Mortal Kombat 2. Because
damn, it's like cliche because like all those answers, I was like, yeah, because Street Fighter 2 was like, oh my god.
But I just realized, I'm like, look, I have a fucking Mortal Kombat arcade cabinet actively playing Mortal Kombat behind me, and there's no way that's not my answer. So Mortal Kombat 2 specifically is the one.
10 years old, it was something wrestling for sure because like that's all that existed in my world. So see,
I didn't like wrestling games till
wrestling games were pretty not that great. Like the best playable one I thought was like Saturday Night Slam Masters. Like I would play the hell out of that
Saturday
game.
Night Slam Masters
Capcom, of course.
Yeah.
But then it like legit the game sucked, but like Raw, WWF Raw for Super Nintendo went crazy with the bucket. Man, I would play that game for hours.
I used to look so back then we didn't have back in my day, we didn't have the ability to just listen to wrestling themes anytime we wanted to. So I used to turn that game on just to hear the fucking synthesized version of Shawn Michaels' theme song because that was
the Razor Ramon one was hard though.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, no, that shit went hard.
That's all we got. We didn't have the full themes that I wanted to listen to, so I had to hear the because they didn't have lyrics neither. All I got was the fucking synthesized.
Until we got to download those Window Media versions of themes very soon after.
That was a lost art, by the way. Though I miss when video games had to recreate wrestling theme songs because they didn't have the ability to play the full song.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
We need a documentary of them composers like getting down.
Favorite video game now, though?
Man, honestly, it might still be Sonic 2 for me. I play Sonic games pretty often.
I do
as an adult. I don't know. As an adult,
like I guess what's something modern that I still play pretty often. So I do play Street Fighter 5 on my PC quite a bit. And yeah, that's probably what I play most often. Not, you know what though, because I'm about to be 35 this year, and I am a simple dude. But I will say that Tetris Effect came out. I think that was either last year or the year before. When did Tetris Effect come out? Because I have been kind of obsessed with that game, and it's really damn good. Damn, that was like late 2018. Wow, where the fuck was I? But I think it hit on the Xbox just last year, right? Something along those lines. Either way, that's what I've been playing. Okay, October 8th, 2021. So it's only been a year, so it ain't been that long.
When I got when Xbox Game Pass came out, I would obsessively the game I probably spent the most hours playing like in the last 5, 6, 7 years. Mirror's Edge. I would play oh my god, I play that game so often. Fucking parkour, just running, jumping, dodging, kicking, shooting. Yeah. That's my shit, man. I play the fuck out of that. But honestly, I don't play a lot of video games if I'm keeping it real.
Yeah. Every time I cut my Xbox on, I usually play a few games of 2K, but I wouldn't say 2K is my favorite game. I've said this before on this podcast. It's a very love-hate relationship. It's a very abusive. It's a very abusive video game to my psyche.
It's like WWE before Triple H took over fucking 4 weeks ago or whatever.
Okay, I'll say this though. Metroid on Switch was definitely my Metroid Dread, I think it was. Metroid Dread. I will say that was probably the most fun game I've beaten most recently. And that's probably my favorite modern game. like what? I guess what's modern, right? Because I
Right.
would also say that
here we go. What's modern?
Because again, I would say that. Because again, I would say that Mario Odyssey is like my favorite game ever made, and that was like 5 years ago. But that's modern, I'd say, because it's on current consoles. So yeah, I think that's my favorite game.
Yeah,
I say I don't game much, but then I'm like, yeah, I do. What am
a
I
whole
fucking
bunch of
talking
games.
about?
The relationship that 2K and Madden have, the stranglehold they have on the culture, and how every year every single person is like, I'm not going to buy it, and then every time it comes out, they're like, I guess I'll try it. Like it never
end up buying
failed.
it, and they don't fix the problems from last year.
Nope.
There's new glitches and terrible stuff this year. There's annoying stuff that my career does this year that
Every
didn't
year.
do last year.
I bought it. I mean, I won it this year, so I don't even have I have it. But as soon as I got it, I think I told the story, but Swerve was immediately like, "Dog, this game is so bad."
I'm saying every year they get you guys.
Every year they get us. I'll throw out there for a modern franchise, Kingdom Hearts, because they're like amazing games.
Yeah.
Even though we probably won't get Kingdom Hearts 4 until like 20.
They did announce it though, right?
Yeah, like 2030 or something like that.
Eloquent says, I discovered this week that wrestling Twitter didn't know that people have disagreements at work and don't all like each other. LOL.
Yeah, it's all about
that's the internet.
It's kind of I've been thinking about Sasha and Naomi a lot because people have been saying like the disrespectful or unprofessional words that keep getting thrown out. And it's like, you guys don't really understand how like workplaces work beyond it being a professional wrestling workplace. You know what I mean? It's like there's so much going on that we don't know. Like the little stories that we get are like nothing compared to like what's really going on back there.
Yeah. I man. The way people get on internet and act like all of these spaces should be perfect and everybody's going to get along. No, the fact of the matter is, not even just in work environments, somebody somewhere does not like you. That just is what it is.
Mac says, God did, Hove did, Mox did.
I mean, those are some bars right there. Straight up. That's what happened.
Yeah, man. I tweeted this already, but 52-year-old Hove is rapping like that. It's just still crazy to me. Like, this dude is just never going to fall off, I guess. Like, he's just going to keep dropping. And I would actually argue the dude is getting better. Like, how is that possible?
Well, you know what, though? And shout out to Andreas for pointing this out.
Yes,
thank
you.
You know, everybody was talking about, man, I can't believe Hove at 52 is doing all of this. But, like, weren't we just praising Black Thought putting out an album and...
like 2 weeks ago.
That man's 50.
He's 50.
Like, unless your cognitive functions have disappeared, rap isn't one of those things where you lose the ability. You may lose connection to the culture just based on the fact that you might age out of it. But for the most part, as long as you're cognitively functional, you should still be able to.
And Hove is so aware of
best.
the culture. Like he's on, like if you really break it down, he's just going to get better with time because he has all the knowledge that he had back then, plus everything that he's gained in this last 20 years. And he still like watches battle rap. He still knows every rapper that's out. Like he's not like an old man. Like he's still in the game. So he's just going to continue to get better. In 10 years, we'll be saying like, damn, Hope's did it again. Because that's what's up. And we don't know. And hip hop's so young that everything's like, we're still like figuring out how the veterans are going to work. Like they keep trying to put them out to pasture, but it's like, nah, it's not like that. Like they could still be out there. We could still see Big Daddy Kane and Rakim and those guys rocking because the space never has to end because they're old.
Yeah.
But that's kind of what I mean though. Cause I understand what Andreas means, but like 10, 20 years ago, it wasn't a cool thing to be rapping at 50. If you were rapping at 50, that was kind of whack. And
that
so
was one of Nas's disses for Jay-Z that he was old.
That's what I'm saying. So
no, the Eminem had a diss talking about Benzino, talking about I don't want to be no fake Benzino, a 38-year-old fake Pacino, right? But like, 38. Like Eminem is still rapping at 50.
Yeah.
Right. And so that's why I'm like, Hov dropping verses and people jumping to say this is the best verse of the year. Like that was unheard of 20 years ago. Definitely. And so that's why I'm like, it is a big deal that he's still doing it this way at this age.
It is wild to think about. In the 90s, we were like, hey, look, Rakim's making a comeback, right? But like, Rakim was what in the 90s would have been 34.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
No, that's
right.
what he would have been in the 2000s. In the 90s, that man would have been in his mid-20s, and we were talking about, hey, he felt because he got started so young. What he was
like
17?
10 years, 15 years later, it's like 98. He's like, oh, I'm 26. You guys, what do you mean? Not a comeback. I was just over there.
This dude, man, come on.
That's amazing. No, shout out to Hope. He fucking did it again. And as always, it's beaten to death. He didn't write that shit down that he did on the Khaled shit. That shit was in his brain, and he went into the booth.
But he does never write. It just
that's what I'm saying. That's crazy. Like, what, dude? How, man? As someone who writes it down, I'm like, how did you do this your entire career? Not one time. You just got into the booth and made every hit that we know. We're like, that's my favorite Jay-Z song. He didn't write it down. He went into the booth and fucking rapped it. Yo,
did that for some of your favorite rappers too. Just wrote it down so they knew what it was.
That's crazy.
Snoop made a career out of that too, though.
Avengers, baby.
Let's see. Van Twinblade. The show is 1 month out. So far, it's Alley Catch versus Sonny Kiss, Danhausen versus Cody Lane, and a fight for STL Indie Pride with Delirious and Matt Sydal versus Dad Horse and Dan the Dad. The faces of yesterday versus the faces of today. Thank you, Van Twinblade. Always appreciate it.
Shout out to Glory Pro. That's going to be a big show.
And shout out to Jennifer, who says, morning, gents. Great reporting, Will. Love the analysis. Peace. Phil, Reg, indeed has been a joy. Love seeing y'all thrive. Keep being amazing. Much love.
We just having a lot of fun on it. We having so much fun. It's like
we had some great stuff coming out this week. We had, Phil had a piece on CM Punk.
Now, honestly, Phil is destroying it right now. Every time a new piece comes out, I'm like, yo, my guy's out here tearing these words up. Shout out to Phil. Man, what's your regiment like? When you're like, I'm about to get into writing, like how does it go down?
You said what's my regiment?
Yeah.
I am a big procrastinator, so I am a big writing at night guy, or very early in the morning. And I very rarely plan out what I'm going to write. I sometimes sit down and decide like what are all the beats that I want to hit, and then I'll just make sure I hit them all in one sitting. I very rarely do what you're supposed to do, right? Like an outline and everything, because again, I'm always last minute.
Yeah, come on.
So
that's dope. That's super dope, man. I hella procrastinate. I don't even know why. Kevin gives me deadlines. I'm like, oh, it's due tomorrow. Damn. All right, let me get out these 1,000 words. I'm just kidding, Kevin. I'll be preparing. I'll be shooting all the whole time, like 2 weeks in advance. I'll be like, blam, 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 blam. PWI 500 is coming out. I have the copy in my cell phone right now, you guys. It's going down. It's gonna be
with that big Roman picture on it.
Scurry and double that next week. Grapsody episode, whatever episode it is, the BW 500. Dropping. It will be announced here. The number one participant.
We're doing Grapsody on Friday this week, though, right?
Yes, that actually makes it better for me.
So
the BW
heads up, people!
500, baby.
Special edition of Grapsody this Friday because we got some Saturday travels happening, and well, actually, it's not about the Saturday travels because I'll actually be in Chicago at the time of Grapsody, and more has to do with the fact that there's a big pay-per-view happening Saturday afternoon, Clash of the Castle.
Thanks WWE for deciding to put 2 pay-per-views in the same weekend with all the rest of this wrestling. Appreciate you guys.
So, what about time, WWE? And we like your show again, yo. Come on.
So we were moving to Friday this week in order to not clash with the Clash at the Castle.
I see what he did there. Big deal.
So I feel like since Jennifer brought it up, I would mention, and actually there's a couple more super chats, but because Mike from Indeed said, take my money and my love. Happy Saturday. No typos today. That is all. And Eloquent said,
shout out to my homie, really quick. Shout out to my homie Mike from Indeed. That message that he sent earlier about my album was super dope. That's why I do this shit. The battle never stops. I'm back on the fucking mic. Some dope shit's gonna come out, and some dope, really dope, super dope, incredibly dope things are gonna happen very soon. Hopefully, when they announce the release date.
Eloquent says, great scoop, Will. Good to see more brothers in that space.
Shout out to Eloquent as always. He's fucking killing it out there. Get eloquent.bandcamp.com. He has some really amazing work going on there.
Yeah, and hey, Your boy is in that space, right?
I didn't know you were a scoopster, Will. I actually have been learning a lot this week. I'm like, yo, I talk to this guy every single day, and I didn't know that he was one of the AEW insiders.
Yo,
but I'm not a reporter.
Hey, man. I just want to point out.
Stop reporting at me.
Man, Reg, I know we showed Will this at one point, but remember we used to text all the time, and it would be like, man, could take this thing over. This is us.
Yes.
Like, we can do this. And it's
Legit.
like now when I look at it, like, we've got a podcast going. You know, I'm a feature writer. My man is doing scoops now.
We
like,
did this. This is exactly what we said, bro. We need to do this. We need to occupy this space. We need to have our voices out here, and our voices.
We did manifest the vision. Let me say though, so I've got some background story and some elaboration on this scoop. By the way, FightfulSelect.com. I wrote my first Fightful Select story. It's not the first story that I've contributed to Fightful Select.
How do you have time to scoop, bro? You have a family, you got a job, you got all kinds of shit. You got time to scoop.
This was the first time that my name was officially on one. That was kind of a change I had talked about with Sean, and so my name is on this one. So here's how the story kind of came together. Because I had actually been working on it for a few days. This wasn't one of those things that came out the day of, or that came about the day of. It was a friend of mine had set me up with kind of a mutual person at Warner, and we were original conversation actually started about things not related to AEW. It was actually more about other stuff happening at Warner Brothers Discovery, because I don't know if you guys know this, but there's a whole lot of shit happening at Warner Brothers Discovery right now. And I thought,
Ezra.
So I'm like, well, I've got this man here, and I know what department he represents. I wanted to basically just ask. I'm like, so All Elite Wrestling. And it was a very brief conversation, but pretty much I got some good details. And so it was like, okay, so the internet kind of has this all framed as you guys kind of having a bit of an, as I put in the article, an adversarial relationship. And they're like, I don't know where that shit comes from, because no, there's no adversarial relationship at all. Like, we talk about ideas, we talk kind of frequently, and we literally just trusted them with our biggest property, Game of Thrones, and Discovery's biggest property, Shark Week. And as we merged into a company, we have trusted them with both in the span of a month. Like, there's no adversarial relationship. There is no sense. They're like, now, of course, you know, it's going to come negotiation time. And as far as that was concerned, it was like, they're like, I can't really talk about the terms of any of that because I don't know what that's going to end up being, because we're not there yet. There's still plenty of time left. I put that in the article. But as far as any of that is concerned, they're like, we're fine. We have a good relationship. And so I was like, okay, is this like turning into a story? And so I was like, let me take this. And I ended up talking with AEW officials about this. And I was like, okay, so this is what I got from Warner Brothers. Do you care to comment on any of this? And then, like I said, that's where it just all kind of came together. And I was working on that story. I was originally going to put it out Tuesday. And then it was like, okay, that story is... No, I was going to put it out Wednesday originally. Wednesday was the original plan. And then somehow Wednesday turned into Thursday. And Thursday it was like, no, all that stuff with Eddie Kingston and Sammy Guevara and all the backstage stuff had dropped. And I'm like, okay, not the right time for this article. Mm-hmm. And then Friday, I was going to put it out. And Friday morning, I wake up, read the Observer. I see a headline in there that says, and not even a headline. It was actually really just a passing thing. But it was a note from Meltzer. And he had said that that Warner Brothers Discovery has told AEW to tone down the language. And I went, well, that's like counter what my article was about. So let me like ask about that, because I feel like this is. I feel like it would contradict my article to put this out now. So I went back to both sides, Warner Brothers Discovery and AEW, and I was like, hey, can you give me an update on this edict about toning down the language? And first comment I got was, we don't know anything about that. What are you talking about? And I'm like, okay, that's weird. And so then AEW was straight up like, no, there's been nothing about that from the network. And we think what happened was during the all talent meeting, there was a portion of the all talent meeting about promos, and specifically about not taking liberties with promos and not going into business for yourself and things along those lines. And one of the things that was said by Tony, as far as all of that was concerned, was, and I verified this with multiple wrestlers, by the way, and they've all said, yeah, of course Tony said that. One of the things that was said was, hey, there are families watching, there's executives watching, like, you guys have to tone it down. That's not to say that the network said you have to tone it down. That was Tony saying, hey, clean up the promos here.
Tony's trying to play nice with the executives. If you have a cleaner product, then it looks better when it's time to re-up.
Right. So, because I did see that, again, I'm an Observer subscriber. I can see on the Observer boards. I saw that Brian Alvarez had kind of pushed back on my reporting, saying that, no, I asked around and they were told to tone it down. But what I specifically was saying in my article was that there was nothing from the network that said tone it down. That was specifically from Tony saying tone it down, and it's more about taking liberties with promos and less about the content of the show. Because I think the way people were running with it was, obviously they're coming down on the show. It's going to become a PG show. This is obviously what the network wants now. That's not the case. It was simply Tony trying to bring kind of get more of a hold back on promos. And because the thing was, there used to only be 2 shits dropped per show.
Right.
And then all of a sudden now there's 5 per promo. Mm-hmm. And I think it's more about getting that back under control and less about the network trying to censor things. That's what I'm under the impression that it is, and that's what I put in the story. And again, FightfulSelect.com for just $5.
Let's go, baby. We'll say, look, I'm out here in the game. I'm going to be all the way at the top. I'm going for the head, the HNIC. You want we talking scoops? We talking scoops, baby. Let's go. You talk about
look, I had it coming at me. I had it coming at me both ways yesterday, right? Because on one end, the Meltzer. So EO had said that she said in an interview yesterday that she was considering going back to Japan, and I was like, look, y'all owe Meltzer an apology. Like this. This was what
more than
he was
one,
reporting.
honestly.
Yeah, this was what was being reported. And I got people in my mentions talking about, look at you, Dick riding Meltzer, right? But then literally 2 hours later, I put out a piece that that corrects something that Meltzer had reported. And because I don't think he was incorrectly reported. I mean, it was incorrectly reported, but I will say that it wasn't more so with any malice or so much fake information as much as it was a misread, I think, of the information he received. I think he did receive correct information that from talent. Somebody in that meeting said, yeah, we were told to tone it down. And I think he read that as we were told to tone it down because network executives could be watching, right? So I think he read that as, well, the network wants them to tone it down. Whereas, no, the network didn't say anything about that. That was Tony trying to get ahead of it. But either way, I put out a story that contradicts Dave, and so on both ends, I'm seeing look at you going after Dave, good job from all of Dave's haters, and then also from Dave's haters are coming at me like, oh, look at you, Dick riding Dave because you're saying that he was right about something. Guys,
stop trying to box my guy in, man.
I'm saying you can't do both.
Guys, I don't dislike Dave Meltzer at all.
No,
I think. Has he said some boneheaded shit? Sure.
Yes, he's an old man. I said it before.
Yeah. But has he also been doing this longer than anybody in the game? Absolutely.
Far.
And do I agree with every take he has? No. No, I think we've had similar tastes in pro wrestling. I think a 5-star Dave Meltzer match is usually kind of a 5-star match in my book, but he's had 4-star matches that I've said were 5 stars. And so I don't know. Either way, it's been a very interesting week. This week was, but that's pretty much how all of that.
We about to take over the game is how all that's what it's leading to. It's about to be our space.
I mean, look, I will say that if I have the opportunity to, and that's kind of what's kind of going to change with me lately is, I, for the most part, have avoided putting my name to any scoops or stories I've gotten for the sake of kind of protecting people close to me. You guys know I have friends in the business and I'm related to somebody, and I don't want anybody thinking that that's who's feeding me stuff, because that's not the case. And so but it is one of those
super not the case at all, honestly. Like I hate that people are gonna think that, and it's like, you guys are so funny.
And so that's why I don't want to, that's why for a long time I haven't put my name to stuff, because I don't want that. But at the same time, like no, I think for the most part I will start putting my name to a lot more stuff, but at the same time,
I will start putting my name. I see what you're doing here. You're getting the bars off already.
Yo,
look, man, you know how hard it is to search for, to vanity search myself, by the way, because like if I do a search for Will Washington, the first thing I saw yesterday was Will Washington follow California's lead on banning certain cars, but of course, you know, it's the beginning of the article, right? So Will is capitalized, so it literally says Will Washington, like my name would be spelled out. And that is the stuff I've had to deal with. I can't, if I try to turn on alerts for my own name, I get
why the hell would you want to do that? That is a terrible idea. Don't ever do that.
I know people
waffle.
I know people who do, because of course they have more, not like names that wouldn't just be used in random sentences, but like literally any questions about things that are going on in Congress always start with
Will Washington.
They always start with, will Washington be listening to the American people?
No, the answer is no.
And I'm like, yeah, will Washington be listening to the American people?
Bro, that's why do you think I use the name Righteous Reg, man? I don't want to, like, it's way easier to vanity search Righteous Reg. I'm gonna find it. So like, I know they're talking about me. If I use my real name, they're gonna, could be anybody, could be anything.
Yeah, I've used my real name too long. There's no turning back now.
No, you're out here now.
I've been podcasting 17 years, and like a dummy, when I was 17, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna just be myself.
I mean, WWE used to do it. They'll just rebrand you. Like, you used to have a whole career. They're like, no, actually, you're this now. Yeah, that could be you. You could be like, no, actually, I'm just this now. Now I'm Wilson. I don't know.
Yeah. Nah, two things from this. First of all, that's
going to be out here, by the way, like Tony Atlas coming out like Samba Simba. Or,
yeah, exactly. They're like, bro, I saw him for 17 years. He's Will Washington. He's not that guy.
Anyway, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Phil.
But the funny thing in this is you being on Meltzer's radar and looking at stuff and being like, wait a minute, that's not true. I know for a fact that's not true. Like, that's wild in itself. But yeah, all of those people that were doing Meltzer's a liar, we're on this EO thing. He got it from somewhere, and I always thought it was weird that people just assumed that, all right, well, he just made that up. No, he got that from somewhere. And so when he was proven right, I still saw people that were going, well, he was still wrong. No, he wasn't. She confirmed that he was right. And I think it's missed on people, because some people will be like, well, she said he was lying.
That she talked to Stardom. Like,
right. So, yeah, you'll have some people that'll be like, well, she said he was wrong. Why do you guys think there is any reason why the wrestler wouldn't come out and say that he's wrong? Of course, in some ways, they don't want you to know that he's right.
Always gonna say he's
wrong. Some wrestlers are going to detract and say no, he's wrong. Of course, that's what they do.
Also, she never said he was wrong. All she posted was rumors in an emoji, and people were like,
"This is what I'm saying." And I said that yesterday. I was like, he wasn't wrong, and so. I think the thing with Dave that people are missing, because I think people have this reputation in their mind with Dave of they don't like his opinions, they don't like his star ratings, they don't like blah 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 blah. None of that has anything to do with his reporting, though.
Different.
It's like if you just don't like him as a person, you don't like his content, cool, don't listen to it. But to just act like none of his reporting is valid, that's just not true. That's just simply not true.
I'll say this about Dave's reporting, though. I'll say a place where I think he might be misguided right now. And I had someone in AEW ask me yesterday, or they didn't really ask, but they were like, I don't know what's going on with all of his doom and gloom talk over AEW as of late. And I said, oh, because he's got WCW PTSD. And I said, he looks at everything through the lens of, well, you saw what happened at WCW, and so it could all happen here. Could, but I think the issue right now is that
WCW and ECW died in the same month, essentially. So he's gonna be stuck in that forever because that was his news. That's all his news was. He's forever gonna be like, well, that happened. That could happen to anybody, even though like Impact's been around for like 20 years.
Ring of Honor's been
They've been trying to get
years.
Impact out.
They've been trying to get Impact out of here since day one. They've been like, this is going to fail. They're never gonna make it. 20 years later, they're still out here.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, ECW and WCW kind of the exceptions now because like otherwise wrestling companies have been getting all of these.
They're old, man.
Shout out to Devil Kazuya. That is now Will Washington's new name. Cal California. That's your name.
Oh, let's go, baby.
Cal California.
Cal California. That's hard. I like Cal California.
That is definitely your WWE name. Cal California.
That's it, baby. You hit level up.
NXT like that's been my name the whole time.
Cal
Grab the
California,
mic just
buddy.
after winning one time and just be
Cal
like,
California.
my name's not Will, it's Cal.
Cal California is so fucking funny, dude.
Cal California.
No, but like for real though, I feel like the problem I'm having with wrestling right now is that people view professional wrestling as a zero-sum game, and it is not. I think that, for example, every single time, and keep in mind, I am having the most fun I've had watching WWE programming in ages. There's nothing I know better than WWE programming. As much as people come to me and they're like, wow, you really know AEW. Guys, I have been watching WWE my entire life. I know that shit like the back of my hand. I know its history really well. I know WCW's history really well, but I know WWE's history very, very well. Very few things I know better than WWE. And every single time WWE's something comes out touting WWE success, and they should, except for tout. But they should be touting WWE success because the ratings are up. Attendance is doing crazy numbers right now. They're killing it.
Survivor Series sold out so fast.
And the perception of the programming itself is up. So like by every metric, things are up. You look at cage match ratings. The reviews are great on shows. The attendance numbers, all up across the board. Ratings are all up.
Work rate up, buddy.
I mean, although SmackDown's down year over year, but I mean, just kind of overall, it's all doing really great. Yeah. WWE is on a hot streak right now. But again, professional wrestling is not a zero-sum game. And so I say that to say that there's this immediate thought that I keep seeing whenever something great for WWE keeps happening, and they're like, oh, it's over for AEW. And I thought, but AEW's ratings are like the same. And so I don't know where the perception is. I mean, I get where it comes from, because in the 90s that was the case. In the early 2000s it was the case where you had two companies not just competing on the same night. And so that meant that it had to be a zero-sum game. If one is doing well, that would have to mean that the other is losing. And that is kind of the idea that people have had in their heads for a long time, where if one's winning, the other must be losing. Right. And that's not true in like most industries, right? We talk about the fact that like I play Xbox, right? Phil, you play Xbox. Reg, you play Xbox. What's the most popular console out there? PlayStation.
PlayStation.
PlayStation's the most popular console out there, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, again, the gaming industry, not a zero-sum game. It's not the case of, well, PlayStation has the most players, so therefore Xbox has failed. Xbox wouldn't say it that way. They would see it as, now we still have a money-making division here, and we still have millions of players on our system.
And there's still the PC niggas too. Like another part of it. You know what I mean? Like, no, there's so many moving parts to this. It's not one and done. Like,
and then
anymore.
to divide this thing up, Phil and I are Android users.
Yep.
Reg has an iPhone.
Mm-hmm.
iPhone is the most popular individual selling phone out there. Android is the most popular operating system out there because there's multiple different Android phones, and so therefore, but the most singular brand of phone, the most popular is the iPhone. And so when you look at it from those two different directions, neither side is looking at it as, well, they have more users, so we must be losing. We must be a failure. It's over for us. Like, that's not how it works in industries with competing brands.
Yep.
You can have success while the other is more successful. And I feel like when I think about the wrestling industry right now, I look at the fact that there are two brands right now that can claim number one spots on their respective nights.
Yep.
Holy shit.
Yes.
When's the last time that's happened? The fact that you can say that there are now two brands right now. And WWE is on a hot streak right now. When is the last time you've been able to say that? Summer of Punk 2011? I feel like I haven't felt this strongly about the brand in a long time. And without the cautious optimism. Because I will say, I felt excited in 2014. Bryan Danielson is WWE champion. Yes, movement is happening. But of course, I'm like, but they also feuded him with Kane in a time where I didn't want to see Kane no more. And and so again, cautious optimism, because it's like there's exciting stuff, but also Vince is still in control. I don't feel that right now. That's great.
I'm a little cautious. I'm gonna be honest. Like it's good, and I'm enjoying what's happening. But a part of me still is looking like, all right, well, I don't want this other shoe to drop. So it's only been about a month, right? So I'm still like, I don't know.
The reason I don't have that cautiousness anymore is because I feel like the only times the other shoe has dropped for me has always been Vince related shit.
Exactly.
And it's always stuff that he would do. But it's not stuff like, I've seen Hunter with the book, and I have seen that, hey, he doesn't do that shit. He doesn't suddenly cut somebody's legs off because I mean, look, he hasn't like cut somebody's legs off just based on his own feeling. He hasn't been like, hey, I know how the fans are reacting to things, but I don't fucking care. So I'm just gonna
what? As a booker or as a character? That's two different things.
As a booker. As a booker.
Yeah.
I mean, because as a character, he's absolutely done that.
Oh,
definitely.
several
times. 1,000,000%.
But what I mean is, I'm strictly talking about my knowing his history as a booker in NXT, where it's like, okay, he listened to the NXT audience, he knew what was working, and was like, I'm just gonna go with the flow and go with what the fans do. And as long as you have somebody who's willing to do that, and now we have somebody who's willing to do that on both sides, who's willing to just work for their fans, and that's all I've ever wanted is professional wrestling.
I agree with that.
Fucking fans.
I agree with that, but at the same time, that's why I think it's so funny that some fans keep posting that Triple H promo at Punk, because that's the opposite of what you're saying. He's not with the fans in that promo. He's with the company and what the company says is best. And so I think it's weird that people are like, he's speaking to us now and he's speaking for us while also posting this promo that is not speaking for you. It doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, I mean, don't take that side. No, you because that's silly, right? But like, really, you should just be working for the fans, and that's all I want to see. And look, one of the things we're talking about here is the return of Johnny Gargano. Johnny's back. Johnny Wrestling returned this past Monday, in a very surprise moment There was no hype. There was no build-up. There was
Nothing.
no, like, stay tuned after this segment because something major's happening. There's no limousine pulling up and some ladies' legs get out, and you're like, whatever happened to those ladies' legs?
Right.
Whose legs were those?
Mm-hmm.
Rock?
Yeah. Yeah, this was
Sorry,
legit.
I'm still stuck on that.
Yeah,
But
right. This legit was like I looked down at my phone and then I heard Johnny Gargano's theme and I was like, "Oh shit, Johnny Gargano!"
Yeah, it was the same
like,
thing.
It wasn't.
I think I was like fixing a plate of food, and I turned around and I'm like, "Oh shit, what the hell? Johnny Gargano's here." That could have happened any week, and they chose this week in front of a hot Toronto crowd. And yeah, Johnny Wrestling's back.
Yep.
This is amazing. And again, not a zero-sum game. This isn't a case of, because I saw it all over social media. Oh, look, Tony Khan loses. Johnny Gargano chose WWE.
They didn't want him, y'all. I hate to break this to y'all, but they didn't want him.
Sorry. Johnny
So
Wrestling.
I've heard it two ways. I've heard that talent wanted him.
Maybe not. They didn't want him is a little bit strong.
And my guess on talent would be thinking about the Bucks.
Yeah, that's everybody's friend. Adam Cole.
Yeah, thinking about those guys. I could see that they wanted him. But I am told that there was just kind of a step back of like, there was no rush to get him. There was no like, we got to have Johnny Gargano now, because they kind of took a look at the landscape of things. And I said this back in January when we were talking about where's Johnny Gargano going to end up. And I know Phil and I had a bit of a debate on that, because my feeling was, I don't see where he fits in on this roster. And the general feeling is, look, if you have somebody like Johnny Gargano, you find a place to fit him in. But I'm like, on a roster that's got as many guys as it's got, the way they've got Bryan Danielson, the way they've got Jon Moxley, CM Punk, Adam Cole, Kenny Omega, and now we're about to be at a point of having all those guys back.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I do have to ask, like, where would Johnny have fit there?
I think there was stuff they could have done with him, but when I say they didn't want him, I mean if there was a real effort to get him, they would have gotten him.
Especially like in the last
for 9 months, bro. Like, you think he would have stayed out there 9 months if they really, really wanted to get him? They would have put the offer on the table to get him. And so I just think people that are doing that victory dance, like, you guys couldn't get him. Like, no, I think if they wanted that to happen, if he wanted to be there, then it would have happened. And that's why I'm like, hey, he made the best decision for him. He made a great decision in letting the landscape, play out first, and then making his decision on where to go. Great for him. I'm glad he's where he wants to be. We don't have to make this they didn't get him, so they lost thing. That's kind of stupid to me.
It is to me, too. I think that, because one of the benefits WWE has with their landscape that AEW doesn't have, but also I don't want them to have, because I think it sucks, is that they do have the ability to shuffle around wrestlers, right? They have, like, I hate the brand split. It's my least favorite thing in wrestling right now. But it is helpful when you have a roster full of people that if you do see, I don't see where this person could be slotted in with this roster, good news, I have another one.
Right.
And so they do have a mechanism in place to shuffle people, to move people around, to make sure that you can fit people in wherever you can.
And Johnny Gargano always at the real core of this is his dad's there, and he has to make his dad proud.
Come on, man.
That's his life goal, to make his dad, Shawn Michaels, proud at WrestleMania, hitting his pose, fireworks going off behind him. Come on, that was going to happen.
I immediately started it.
Does Johnny enter from the rafters?
As
Michael Cole,
bro.
Michael Cole screams, "The boyhood dream!"
That was in his contract.
True.
He's like, "Look, I'll come back right now if I can do the WrestleMania."
What a ride!
Ride me down, bro.
No, I thought about that immediately when he got in the ring and ran around the circle like HBK does constantly, and I was like, "All right, yeah."
No, I'm happy for Johnny though. I was happy to see him back, and one of the things that is being very apparent in Hunter's WWE, and I think a big part of this is also just Hunter having booked the other part of it. I think had he not, he probably wouldn't have cared as much. But Hunter being so attached to old NXT storylines is a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
I know I've seen debates this week, some tongue in cheek, some were serious about, what can you really introduce NXT storylines to an audience that wasn't really watching NXT? Can you really reference them? Guys, that stuff exists.
Yep. They're trying to pitch a network. Yo,
like,
hey, you
again,
can watch all this on Peacock if you really want to catch up.
Because I always think that's weird because I always think about the fact that, again, using an analogy here, we'll take Marvel movies, for example. Marvel movies constantly reference stuff that happened in other Marvel movies, right? You can't guarantee that everybody's seen every Marvel movie, especially now that there's like 27 of them.
Right.
But they're out there and they exist. And if you want to get the reference, go watch it. It exists. If you don't get the reference, that's okay too.
Right.
Then it wasn't for you.
Yeah, I watched No Way Home. When I watched No Way Home, I didn't know what anybody was talking about. I didn't know why everybody was so excited in the theater. I didn't know what was going on. They were referencing all kind of shit. But I enjoyed it. I had a great time. I wasn't like, I didn't get what they were talking about, so I didn't like this movie. I was like, no, that was a cool movie.
No, listen.
My brother called me this morning to ask about it because he's like, because he had never seen Johnny Gargano. He's like, literally, I've never watched an episode of NXT. My brother watches wrestling, right? But like, he can't. It's too much for him if it's outside of the realm of Dynamite, Raw, or SmackDown. He will not watch Rampage. He will not watch NXT. He's not going to watch Impact. Raw, SmackDown, Dynamite. That's it. That is what he watches. And so
you need to replace that SmackDown though. That shit is not really.
Actually, you know what? He does not watch SmackDown either. It's Raw and Dynamite. Those are his shows. He watches Raw and Dynamite.
Flagships only.
Yeah. He watches flagships only. It's all he watches. So he asked me. He was like, he's like, who is Johnny Gargano? And I was like, yeah, that makes sense. I don't get why you would know who that is if you have literally never watched NXT. And he was like, I kind of gathered from his promo that he's from NXT. And I guess he had something to do with, obviously he had something to do with Austin Theory. And I'm like, yeah. And so I explained the way to him and all of that stuff. And he got it. But again, that's all it takes as a wrestling fan. For people to think it's so complicated of, oh no, nothing was explained to me, I'm going to die. Like, that's not how that works.
What wrestling world do they live in where that happens, by the way? Because there's no world where you say, I don't know something, and 30 wrestling fans won't show up to explain it to you because wrestling fans know everything, and they make sure to tell you that every time they get a chance. So where do you think that happens? This is a communal experience. If you say you don't know something, someone will smart you up. That's how it happens.
And that was as easy as it was for my brother. And he got it. He's like, okay, this is Johnny Gargano. Okay, cool. So now I know this guy. I know that obviously the fans knew who he was, so it was a big deal. Look, you can't. And the thing is, WWE is doing a lot of this right now. They're doing a lot of like bringing people in and just kind of assuming like, look, this is somebody from NXT doing things they were doing in NXT. You're just keep following along. You'll eventually get it.
They're like, I prepped you for this. You know what this is. Yeah, I'm into it, man. I've complained for a long time that they just didn't, like, they would act like they didn't exist before they got to the brand, which was like, no, dude, like, we remember the character. I just watched them lose on Wednesday, and then they're back on Monday as a different person. What are you doing? Like, continue what I saw on the network that you sent and you primed me to fucking watch. What are you talking about?
I am so excited for Johnny Gargano versus Cody Rhodes. That is going to be the most dramatic match of all time. That is going to be the facial expressions, the zoom ins, everything about it.
50 false finishes.
50 false finishes.
The zoom ins are gonna go crazy. I
5
swear.
stars.
Please.
Man, I'm glad Gargano is back on television. I don't care where he wrestles. I'm just glad he's back on television.
Yeah, a guy like that needs to be on a professional wrestling show, like no matter what show it is. Like Johnny Gargano loves this shit. That's not fake. That's not nothing. That's really him. He wants to be out there wrestling. So to see him go get that reception in fucking Canada, you know, that
is a lie, buddy.
Oh, I don't know.
I'm sorry. I just thought a comment. Gargano as a babyface is better than Cody as a babyface. That is a lie right now, buddy. Cody is one of the hottest babyface in the industry.
I mean, that said, Cody was in WWE for all of 3 months, and for the most part, if you back up his babyface run for the last year,
Yeah, but I would even say right now, like if you look at the reactions when Cody was coming out and high-fiving people in the crowd, it's different than when Gargano just walked around. There were a lot of people in that crowd that didn't know who Gargano was.
Yeah.
It's not the same. It's levels. And speaking of levels, I wonder, what do you guys think of them just cold dropping him on TV? Because I think it worked because of everything else that's going on around it. Because, like I said last week, the release is kind of the new NXT call up, and so now every time somebody that was released comes back, there's this excitement around it. But I did feel like, all right, this is just kind of out of the blue, and he just came out and did a random promo, and they tried to slide the theory stuff in there to go, see, there's a story here, but I kind of wish they brought him back as part of an angle.
I mean, I feel like Theory is the angle. That they're just going to go with him versus Theory as the feud going forward.
Right. And I think Gargano is such a unique case because he did so much in NXT. It's like, if you don't remember he's been here for this long and was a champion of all the champions and all this, it's kind of like, but yeah, I think it could have worked a little bit more if they, primed it a little bit more before dropping him, but I think it worked out for him because I think the release is, people knew about him. People have been hearing his name for 9 months. He's been in the news, even if not signed to a company. So,
yeah, I mean, it was going to hit regardless. But I just think that the way that people do returns now has changed so much. It's not a matter of, all right, well, we don't know he's coming back. So I saw some people that were like, oh, unannounced is the best way to do it. And yes and no. I just feel like it depends on who it is. I feel like AEW has proven that you don't have to keep it a surprise. It could still work if you do it the right way.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was a little cold, just in the sense of, because it just happened literally out of nowhere. It was just he was just dropped into the show, and there wasn't even like any hints that something was happening. But that said, it was still an exciting thing. I do feel like I do miss built-up returns. WWE hasn't done a built-up return in a long time. And what I mean by that, like, of course, they hyped Cena coming back for his anniversary, but he ain't been here since.
Dropped
new
merch on us. That's why he came back, just to give us the new merch.
Yep.
Yeah, looking like Ernest out there. But I have been thinking about how Hunter, he's a good example. His return, beautiful day, right? They played those video packages, video promos, had people on the edge of their seat, and then Madison Square Garden, they screamed their goddamn heads off for the return of Hunter. I think about Kurt Angle and what song was that? Was it Clocks, I think, that played through his return. And
pretty much like all of Jericho's returns, like, but you didn't, like, you knew it was Jericho, but they wanted to give up perception it wasn't Jericho, but like it was like Jericho's coming back. It felt like a big deal. You know what I mean?
I do feel like I would like to see WWE do more hype returns from injuries. I think that they, for whatever reason, just didn't do that. Like I felt, I remember in, what was that, 2017, I felt very shortchanged by the fact that they just cold brought Finn Balor back from his shoulder injury, and we're like, y'all didn't do nothing about his rehab and none of that. Like, that was a guy who had to relinquish the Universal title.
They did it for Rollins, I guess, when he was out with his knee injury. They hyped
No,
it
they
pretty
didn't.
good,
He just returned at Extreme Rules. He just came out of the crowd and just pedigreed Roman, and we're like, look who's back. But there was no
they did the rollout after he came back.
they did the rollout.
Yeah, he at least had stuff afterwards. Like Balor didn't even get that.
Right.
Yeah. So I would have, and so I'm hoping now that there is a little bit more like, hey, guys who are out from injury, like Cody should very much have a, especially considering how much that guy loves the spotlight. Like, that guy needs to have cameras following him right now, filming everything he's doing on the couch right now, like every little thing. And then you put together an awesome video montage of Cody's return and his build up to getting back in shape, him at the gym, him practicing at the Nightmare Factory, every single thing you can get of Cody Rhodes preparing.
Are you kidding me?
Return.
If they're not filming that, he's filming it. What do you mean?
Oh yeah, somebody has a camera in the Rhodes household right now on.
Yo, Pharaoh is sitting behind the camera. He got to get somebody behind the camera.
Big facts. He's like, yo, start shooting. I'm coming back. I'm in the gym.
Like,
Pharaoh.
if
Bring
there's
the camera.
ever anybody who deserves to have a big video hype promo return, it's got to be Cody Rhodes.
Cody.
Nah,
I don't think he needs to be cold dropped in. He needs to be like, Cody's coming back, bro, on this day, and because it'll sell tickets too. It's Cody like, yeah, no, put it on Cody.
Yeah. Hey, so I want to read a couple more super chats. Orion Ben says, with the Gargano, Raw, Grapsody, favorite return, or favorite all-time return. They're asking what our favorite all-time return is.
In what way? Because I mean, my answer is different. If it's from injury or if it's just return to wrestling. If it's return to wrestling, it's Punk all day. If it's just from injury, like I feel like the answer is a little different.
I will say return to wrestling just because Punk has already been said. I'm going to jump 10 years prior, and I will say that The Rock returning to wrestling in 2011 was so good and so important because he had become such an A-list name and did it while like abandoning all things wrestling. Matter of fact, there's a running joke, right, that I've been running with for a long time and I see on Twitter every once in a while. But I know there's some younger fans who don't remember this. But if you ever see somebody use the joke, hey, Raw fans, DJ here. What that was in
DJ, that's so nasty.
I know. In 2008, The Rock was promoting a movie. I can't even remember which movie it was. But he appeared on USA Network to promote it. And he acted like he had never seen wrestling before. And he wasn't The Rock. He showed up and he goes, hey, Raw fans, DJ here. And I'm here to talk to you about my movie. Blah, blah, blah. And people were so mad because they're like, Raw fans, DJ here. Who the fuck is this guy? You literally made a career on Raw, and you're talking about DJ. You're The Rock.
Rock is a wild dude, man.
Crazy.
DJ
wild
here.
And crazy. DJ here.
And just the way he said it, like, hey, Raw fans. You know, like whenever a celebrity appears to promote something, but like they're not a part of it. Like, how is The Rock, the people's champ, going to be like, hey, Raw fans, DJ here? Like, no, you say
nobody has ever called you DJ. In
Never,
setting, bro.
not one time. Not
outside of wrestling, nowhere.
Fan. And like definitely the people's champ doesn't show up and go, finally, The Rock has come back. Right. No, this man showed up to promote a movie talking about DJ. Shut the fuck. People were so mad about that in 2008 that hey, Raw fans, DJ here is a phrase that has been stuck in my head for the last 14 years. And at that point, that was the moment that convinced me. I'm like, he ain't never coming back. The Rock is just done, obviously. Like, he addressed wrestling fans as DJ.
And he was telling the media, like, do not call me The Rock. I'm Dwayne Johnson, DJ.
But he said that. But he did admit that was his manager at the time who was telling him, you want to have a successful acting career, you need to run as far away from wrestling as possible.
So wrong.
Your manager was giving you some bad advice.
Could you imagine being so wrong?
And then he hired a new manager in 2011, and his new manager said,
what?
Guy, you're The
Rock. The Rock.
You are The Rock. You need to be The Rock. You need to be all of that shit that people
muscles, like, dude. We want to see you working out. You're the fucking Rock. What do you mean? What was that guy doing?
He was pitching them some bad movies when he first left. Dude. What was his first manager on?
Like, I'm trying to remember what has the chat gotten what movie that was he was promoting at the time. Because for the life of me, I can't remember, and I have to look up his
DJ here.
Was it Get Smart?
Nasty.
No.
I don't think Get Smart was 2009.
Yeah. What was he
2008 promoting? Rather.
What was he promoting in 2008 that he would have been the lead actor in? That he would have been like, "Hey, Raw fans, DJ here."
It wasn't Doom, was it?
No, that was 05. Hold on, I'm looking it up.
DJ. I still want that interview, DJ. Holler at your boy.
It could have been Race to Witch Mountain.
Wow. Yeah, he had some stinkers in the first half of the acting career, bro. I'm glad he got it together, but woof.
He got it the fuck together.
But I suppose it could have also been the game plan. I don't remember what it was.
Now he just in the jungle. He don't care. He like, yo, I'm out in the jungle. Bring the camera, and we'll make.
But 2011, that man was straight up like his new manager said, "Look, you want to do Fast 5? You got to be The Rock. You got to come in and be The Rock.
They want to see The Rock versus Vin Diesel, not Dwayne Johnson versus Vin, not DJ versus Vin Diesel. Who the hell is DJ, bro? Where's The Rock?
I still got you. He came in and he turned it around, right? He launched that Twitter account and everything from 2011 on, that turned out to be one of the best movies. I mean, then he
went back to wrestling, like legit, like.
So yeah, I still got issues with Vin Diesel winning that fight because there's no way. There's no way Vin Diesel was winning that fight. The way that Rock was throwing him around in that garage, bro. Nah,
The Rock is definitely fading Vin Diesel. Remember when they had the little beef? The Rock was like laughing. He's like, bro, if you want, you don't want to fight. I don't think you want.
Yeah, so that's my favorite return to wrestling, just because of the fact that he was so detached. That I'm telling you, DJ here had me convinced he was never coming back to wrestling. That he wanted nothing to do with that shit. He was embarrassed by it. He didn't even. That told me he didn't even want wrestling fans knowing that he was a wrestler. That's what that said to me. That he would have. But from injury, that's a good one. Reg, what's your answer?
For returning to wrestling, I think. Just because I've been watching a lot of it recently, Bam Bam Bigelow coming to ECW, just because he changed the culture over there, and because when the last time we saw him in WWF with they tried to give him like gear, they tried to like make him like an action figure with like flames and shit, and it was like, what's going on with Bam Bam? And then he came back to ECW, and he was just badass, Bam Bam, dropping dudes on their head, just murdering dudes, legit. Return from injury though. That's a good one. I don't know.
For me, for injury, I think it's Daniel Bryan. That promo he cut when he came back, and
2018.
The shot they showed of him like looking off into the distance with the WrestleMania sign behind it.
Fight for your dreams. Perfect. Your dreams will fight for you.
That's mine. Yeah, it's cliche as fuck, but yeah. When they announced that on Twitter, I remember like that day. I
cried.
Like,
I was at work, and people are looking at me at my cubicle, looking at me like, "Why are you crying at your desk?" And I'm like, Daniel Bryan's back, and they're like, "Who?" Back. And I'm like, "Don't worry about it. It's a thing.
He's back.
He's back. Yeah. He's back in the ring."
Oh my God, that was a time. And then he did that with Daniel Garcia 2 weeks ago. He did that match with Kenny Omega. He did that shit with Hangman. After that, what a guy, the greatest of all time.
Yeah, I mean, if anything, that WrestleMania match he had after that wasn't it, but what a return.
Yeah.
Oh no,
Shane McMahon was destroying our world for a couple of years.
Vince McMahon did not know how to manage babyface Daniel Bryan. He didn't. God. Daniel Bryan succeeded in spite of all things Vince. When you think about how
that's the thing I'm most excited to see with the new regime is how they handle after this, whatever they figure out what they're doing with Liv, how they handle baby faces being champions moving forward. And I'm very interested in it.
Gotta get one of those belts off of that guy first.
Roman Reigns is gonna be champion for 14 years. So
the madness.
When I saw a graphic and it said 700 something, I'm like, bro, this is excessive.
Ridiculous.
Come on.
Redmond is asking guesses for the Joker in the casino ladder match. I think it is MJF.
Yes.
I think my gut
if it's
feeling,
not, we're gonna be very disappointed. I think
my gut feeling is that Tony wouldn't have booked the match at all if he didn't think he had something big for the
who
Joker
else
spot.
In the world could fill that spot, you guys.
Right.
Yeah. It's Johnny Gargano.
Nah, Brian Cage is coming out.
Oh God, you couldn't see a segment die faster if Brian Cage walked out as that damn Joker.
What about Tyrus?
Oh my God, you couldn't see a TV turn off.
Anybody watching NWA 74 this weekend?
Jesus, no way. The main event is Tyrus.
Anybody watching that? Like, I don't know anybody excited for that show.
No ticket sales. Nobody is
nobody's watching this show, bro. Hey, maybe just do Empower next time, guys. It's okay.
Thanks for existing though, because I like
that was the argument was we couldn't do Empower because we just didn't have the talent, even though it's out there, and the interest wasn't there.
That's
but like
the worst
is the interest
of all time.
But like look at the talent you're using for NWA 74, and then also look at the interest. Like ticket sales aren't even close between Empower and
no way.
This is 74.
I don't know what they're even doing. Tyrus is in the main event. No one's going to watch that against
is
Trevor
it 74
Murdoch.
Or 75.
I think it's 74. I'm surprised they didn't get. I'm sure they offered Ric Flair all the money in the world to try to come and have a match. I'm sure they did.
So I'm gonna leave it to you guys because I haven't gotten a chance to listen to either album in full.
The JID album is incredible. I love it. I ran it back driving to the concert yesterday, and the second time was even better than the first time. JID's going crazy on the raps. The production's amazing. He's singing like he was in the church choir. Like, it's an amazing record. All the features. Lil Wayne, oh my God, he went insane on this record. Them rapping back and forth was just hip hop. Beautiful. I loved it. Amazing. Yeah, JID's one of my favorite projects of the year from the beginning. I love it. This year in hip hop has been very scary for me. Every time a project drops, I'm like, Kendrick Lamar has me just like, every time somebody drops, I'm like, are you going to do what you're going to do? Or are you going to do some other shit? And JID did exactly what I expected JID to do in a great way. Like, he's improved as a rapper. He's improved as a singer. He's helped produce some of the beats. Like, he did it. Great album. Amazing. Khaled, I only listen to the Jay-Z verse because I don't really, anytime they hype a Khaled album now, I'm like, I can't, dude. I don't, that type of sound and music and all of that is not for me.
That's why I was saying I didn't get a chance to listen to it in full, but yeah. I might because I'll have an hour coming up here.
The JID album is crazy though. Yeah. Love it.
Yeah. So somebody made the perfect analogy. Somebody was saying that Khaled albums are the Fast and Furious franchise of hip hop because there's all of the people on the same album, and it's all of the spectacle of the big records, and he does it well.
He's like, hey, I got Justin Bieber again. We're like, we know, dude. You always have Justin Bieber. Come on.
I gotta feel bad for Wayne because Wayne's verse on God Did is very good, but everybody just got completely wiped by Jay's verse because it's Jay. No, the JID album is very good. I haven't listened to it a second time, but on first listen, it's very, very good. I saw Big E up this morning because he's always up very early in the morning for some reason. I've heard that this guy goes to sleep at like 8 at night and gets up at like the crack of dawn for whatever
reason. He's an old man. I love it.
So he was up really early this morning, bigging up the JID album. So I think the consensus is that it's really good.
He did it. Yeah. Also, shout out to Rock Marciano. Super dope album. Him and Alchemist.
Man, I haven't listened to that one yet, but I'm excited for it.
That shit is fire. I ran that one back too, and that one's even better. Like, I listened to it first time, I was like, damn, this is hard. And I listened to it the second time, I was like, oh my God, this album is incredible. This is crazy. Great album. It was a great day for hip hop yesterday. Like, anytime they could put out a consecutive amount of dope albums, Makami also put out a dope project. I just am happy. I loved it.
Hey, Lonzo Rodwell wants to know. He says, much love to the Grapsody boys. Realistic in the game. What are your thoughts on the AEW Fight Forever game? Definitely bringing No Mercy vibes.
Appreciate that, Lonzo. Yeah, there was a lot of news this week on the AEW game with them being out in Germany for the
we had to see our first,
con.
Yeah, for Gamescom. They did some exhibition matches. I watched a couple of them, and hey, that was kind of neat. Somebody pointed out that that's technically like biggest attendance any wrestling event has ever had.
Nah.
I mean,
who was wrestling out there? Cole?
Hold up. By virtue of the amount of people in the building, because Gamescom had 300,000 attendees.
Oh, damn.
And so they were like, and so basically they said, come down to the hall, come see wrestling. Now, of course, there were not 300,000 people in that area, but they're like, but technically, if you want to do a thing and announce attendance, you could be like,
Vince would have been like, hey, 300,000 niggas was out there. They all were here for WWE.
Coach got to hop on his Twitter right now, like, man. Who said I was demoted? Just wrestled in front of 300.
I wrestled in a building that
I just did 300K, bro.
Yeah,
Come on.
I just did 300K.
That. Yeah.
But that was obviously a joke.
That's hilarious. But but the video game looks super fun. I like the seeing them do the match with Kenny Omega and Adam Cole. Like, really made you got everything that's kind of presented there, and I really liked what's going on there. I think people are going to be excited. I saw a lot of people being super excited after all the footage that came out, being like, oh, I see what it's going to be. I see what's going on. It's going to be dope. So
IGN did kind of a write-up on it. They had some concerns about striking detection, and they're hoping that gets fixed. But they were like, but as far as the mechanics of the game, they're like, it's no mercy. And I think what's been fascinating to watch happen.
And there's leg slaps in the game.
Yeah. Why
does
Adam Cole
funny,
slap
dude.
his thigh on the boom?
Is so funny. That's hilarious. If he has to. It's AEW. Come on.
Yeah. No, I was. It's just funny that for years, everybody wanted the next No Mercy. Mm-hmm. Everybody's been trying to be the next No Mercy.
Yeah.
Where, like, think about the lineage of what No Mercy was going to be. It was No Mercy happened. Because No Mercy's lineage all dates back to Virtual Pro Wrestling. But, like, here in America, it started with WCW versus the World on PlayStation, which then led to WCW versus NWO World Tour on N64, which led to WCW NWO Revenge, which led to WrestleMania 2000, which led to No Mercy. And then EA actually got their hands on Aki and that engine, and we're going to make a new WCW game called WCW 2000. And then there were screenshots released of that game. It was on the cover of PlayStation Magazine. That was going to be the next game. And then WCW was bought by WWF. Game got canceled. They had this game that they had already started, and that game ended up becoming Def Jam Vendetta, where without having the WCW license, EA was like, let's license something.
Let's license something.
We have a wrestling game here we've been building, and Def Jam Vendetta was born out of the death of WCW.
Culture.
Right. And then And then that led to Def Jam Fight for New York, which wasn't even a wrestling game anymore. That was just a straight up fighting game.
Like, take it to the streets. What he's
take it to the streets. But then there was an Ultimate Muscle game that used the engine, but for the most part, the engine again wasn't used after that. Despite the fact that it was a very popular engine, everybody wanted that engine because it was simple, it was easy to play, but it was difficult to master. You got good at it. That was what people wanted, and WWE like kept trying to replicate it. With like Day of Reckoning tried to replicate it, but it was like missing things. Like I felt like Day of Reckoning was good on its own, but for the most part, it wasn't. It was like it's not No Mercy. It's trying to be, but you can see where at its essence, it's just not. And I remember everybody kept saying our wrestling game is going to be the next No Mercy, and everything was missing it. Whether it was Reg's favorite games, the Raw games on Xbox.
Oh, God.
Or even WrestleMania 21.
No, like, worst. Worst of all time. That's the fastest I've ever taken a game back to the store. I legit played it for 45 minutes. I bought the game first day, went home, played it for 45 minutes. I was like, this is the worst video game I've ever played. I took it right back to the store and bought something else. I think I bought Unreal Tournament 4 or something like that. Yeah, I was like, this is garbage, you guys. How did they put this out? Like, I remember like getting stuck on the outside of the ring and not being able to get back in the ring. I'm like, they produced this and made people buy it. I paid $60 for that.
That game put Studio Gigante out of business. And
well deserved.
And that was a studio by John Tobias, the creator of Mortal Kombat. He made 2 games, Tao Feng, Fist of the Lotus, and WrestleMania 21. Ooh. And then went out of business.
They were like, you're good, bro. No more. Yeah, because that shit was awful. Yeah.
But and then I even think about how when they were making the TNA game and they brought in AJ Styles to like consult on it because he's a big gamer, and he's like, we're going to make this No Mercy. I want it to be like No Mercy. And they just couldn't capture the essence of it. And this is really the first time that I've looked and seen a game that says we're going to be No Mercy. And I'm like, oh, I think they get it. Like as I'm seeing the way grapples work, the way I'm seeing interactions between the wrestlers work, I'm like, I can kind of see they finally got the mechanics of No Mercy right. And maybe it took somebody like Kenny to say, like, no, it has to work this way to be No Mercy. But then at the same time, Kenny said that No Mercy had to be sped up because he was like, if you play No Mercy today, it's a very slow, methodical game that is not conducive to, like, a Rey Fenix match.
Right.
And so he was saying, if we're going to do the types of matches you have in AEW, we kind of have to speed up No Mercy. And so you could see where it's No Mercy in a lot of ways, but it's also faster and has a lot of thought put into modern wrestling. It looks like it'll be fun. It's not a sim, because the other thing I'm seeing is that for about 15 years, people were screaming, we want No Mercy, we want No Mercy. But No Mercy is now a 22-year-old game.
Yep.
And what's happening now is there's a whole generation of people who didn't even play.
They don't know what that is.
No Mercy. They don't know what that is. They don't care. So now when they see a game trying to be No Mercy, they're like, oh, this is old. This is outdated. This ain't what anybody wants.
Most of them know SmackDown versus Raw. Like that's how they got into the game. They don't know No Mercy. That's
and so
old.
there's the generation of younger gamers are like, this isn't what I want. I want and so I'm seeing that disconnect now. But I think as far as us 30-somethings are concerned, we want No Mercy. We've wanted a No Mercy type game for a long time, and I'm excited to play it. But also, I like 2K. I've been playing 2K22. I play with my son like a couple times a week. He thinks he's very good at it, and I just be beating his ass all the time. And the other day, like, sometimes if I'm like, I'm not even in the mood to have a long match, I'll just play a Stone Cold. And literally the best part about playing a Stone Cold is that if you hit a Luthez press, that instantly gives you a finisher. And so I'll hit the Luthez.
So you're cheating then? Is that what you're saying?
I'll like just beat on him a little bit to build up a signature. I'll hit the Luthez press, which then instantly gives me a finisher. Pick him up, stunner, 1, 2, 3.
Oh my God!
And so the other day he was like, "Okay, I want you to play as literally anybody
not
else."
Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Yeah, I was like, all right, I will pick Stone Cold. And so so he picked Roman Reigns and.
Billy's trying to cheat too. He's like, look, if that's what we're doing, let me get Roman.
And so I like went all the way down the roster to find like the lowest rated person. I think I picked Akira Tozawa, and I beat him. I was like, Billy, I'm just good at this game. It ain't.
Cheat your son out on it.
I was like, it took a little more work, but
don't do Billy like that.
Wrong,
Let him get a dub.
No,
At least with Roman and Tozawa, come on.
I mean, and the other thing is the game allows for some crazy comebacks that sometimes I can just imagine being in his shoes and getting so pissed off at the amount of a comeback you can make in that game.
That's when you bring out the most infamous little kid video game line of the world. This game cheating.
I mean, his dad is cheating. He was out here Luthez pressing him and then with a
actually
stunner.
cheating.
I mean, look, it makes it so easy to hit that Luthez press, and then you just stand there, you do the taunt, waiting for him to get up, boom, kick to the gut, stunner.
This
1,
game
2, 3.
cheating.
But the thing is, ain't that how a Stone Cold match?
No, that's how it happens in real life. That's why it's like that. Yeah. So, those comebacks are real for a reason.
Yeah. Eloquent says Sonic Mania, the GOAT Sonic game. I agree. Sonic Mania is Sonic Mania. Great. Van Twinblade says Fake Geek Reg not playing video games or D&D.
I tell you guys once and for all, wrestling is the only thing.
Chaos Control wants to know what's your favorite Kingdom Hearts game, Phil?
I am gonna go with 2 because I think 2 has the best opening. It has the best combat system. The boss fight at the end is amazing.
Was that My Sanctuary?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna.
Funny thing,
2 was amazing.
I never played a Kingdom Hearts game, but I dated someone who was obsessed with Kingdom Hearts, and so I definitely knew all of the songs and the cutscenes and all of that when it was happening when those came out. I didn't even check in with this person when Kingdom Hearts 3 came out because obviously we've been apart a very long time. But for 1 and 2, we were dating, and it was like,
man, are you kidding me? The opening credits of 2 is incredible. It looks like a movie. It's amazing.
Meet Norma says, when Grapsody comes to the DC area, I'm going to dust off the N64 and we're playing GoldenEye and Mario Kart.
Classics.
Yeah, okay. Cool. Shout out to Chris. Chris says, if Dustin Rhodes can put on bangers at 53, then Jay-Z can drop hits at 50. Age is just a number in entertainment these days. Hope your weekend is good.
Yeah. Shout out to the Doc.
And Dustin.
And also, Dustin did have a great match yesterday with
Claudio.
With Claudio.
Yeah. And on a not so great episode of Rampage, boy, the finish to that trios match was not good. I'm sorry. And I mean, I expected Dark Order to win, but that finish was not it. That finish was not it.
I didn't like it. Yeah.
But no, hey, shout out to Dark Order. I saw what they did there. Tennis was grabbing that knee. I said, just getting closer to a certain cowboy taking this spot. I know where we're going.
Yeah, I know. But my question is, because I feel like looking at the landscape, who do you put in the casino ladder match? I feel like Hangman should be in that match, right? Like, I don't think.
Well, if MJF's coming back, I don't think you want their first standoff to be in the ladder match.
I mean, that would be their first standoff, honestly, since their feud in 2019. Like, it's been a while. But
it's like, do you maybe do want that to be the first little showdown for the future?
Because I was looking at, like, I still feel like you need, in the same way that the last casino ladder match.
Who's going to be in the casino ladder match with all the guys that already have matches on the show?
Because in the last one, Hangman returned, but the other big babyface in the match was Moxley, right? And so you still had that, so you were able to do that standoff in the match of Moxley and Hangman. And I feel like you almost kind of need that same scenario of have somebody else big enough in the match that could conceivably win it. And I don't know who else that is. I feel like you would need Hangman in that scenario.
Who are they putting in this ladder match?
Adam Cole is still going to be out, right?
Yeah, I can see like Andrade, and I can see like, but like I said, Hangman's one of those guys. I feel like you would need a strong enough babyface in that match, and you could also go off him having the experience of having won it before.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to do it again, and this time, and you have the story of him going after either Punk or Moxley. Like, I feel like that. Is the story I would more so want to see for Hangman is being in that casino ladder match and just maybe coming up short.
Which, by the way, all of those people last week that was like, oh, this is a work. All right, well, Meltzer was right about that as well. And then Tony just outright gave it up on Busted Open. He was like, yeah, they just don't get along. I was like, okay.
There it is.
Cool. So, yeah, no, not a work, guys.
And they didn't want Will to break news. God did.
That's good. Man. Shout out to
you. What else? Matt says, what matches should open All Out and Clash? I would open with the casino ladder match, to be honest.
Yes.
If you have a big return, open with that.
If not, then trios title.
Yeah.
Trios.
Clash, Rollins and Riddle.
I might have Gunt and Sheamus open the Clash. Kick that shit off hot.
I just feel like Rollins and Riddle has been going on for so long, and they didn't get the SummerSlam spot. And if they're not going to get the main event here, I think
then just go right for it.
Yeah, open with a hot crowd and just do it.
That's going to be an insanely hot crowd. Oh my God, they're going to go crazy out there. It's going to be a great show.
Deontay says, yo, my dudes, what's up? Much love to y'all. When I heard Will did a scoop, I took it out of rent money and said, it's just $5. I paid rent, don't worry. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Shout out to Deontay.
$5.
Yeah.
And yeah, we just Mike Harmeyer says the return of phone talk. Yeah, I know what you mean. That is a callback to my old RBR days. Jake Salazar says, I'm cautious because Triple H about to bury everybody for carrying.
He also might do that.
He did do that. I won't say he buried, but he definitely
he definitely
established that Carrion was his guy for sure.
He fucked Keith Lee over for sure.
Yeah. Well, the problem is he don't have that anymore. Where it was like he sent Keith Lee to the main roster. It was like, hey, you know what? Keith Lee, we're done with him anyway. He's moved to the main roster. We can focus on Carrion. Now what are you gonna do? Send him to SmackDown? Or Raw? Like you don't have that anymore. You don't have the that's the thing we don't know about Hunter as a booker is that Hunter has only ever had to keep people temporarily.
Right.
He hasn't had a roster full of people that he's basically got for the next 5-6 years, right? He had I guess kind of with Gargano and Ciampa, but other than that, the rest of the roster was a cycling roster that he was able to continually change out and all of that and just prepare them for Vince. He don't have that no more. So I'm interested to see how he does.
Yeah, you might have to have this person for 10 years, bro. You better get it right.
Yeah.
Man, I got to give WWE a lot of credit in getting me interested in Drew McIntyre again, because I feel like for the last few weeks he has been much better than he's been all year. Like those video packages they did for him this week were great. His promo was great. He's way better. It feels like he's on that same run he was when he won the Royal Rumble. Like, he went through this phase where he's doing all the catchphrases and stuff, and
they try to make him into Braveheart. He's like, we don't want Braveheart Drew McIntyre.
Yeah,
dude.
honestly, like you know,
it wasn't working.
If we just do away with the sword, all of that shit, like I think that Drew McIntyre to me is reminding me of the Drew McIntyre that was getting over at the beginning of 2020 when Heyman was in control. And I think that, again, guys, Vince was a problem a lot longer than anybody wants to actually acknowledge. But, like, that man didn't know what he was doing. That man did not know how to build a successful, strong babyface at all. The most successful babyface he had over the last, 5 years fell into his lap in Cody Rhodes. But other than that, he hasn't known how to fucking do it in 10. And even then, did he really know how to do it beyond then? John Cena was successful in spite of the fans.
Exactly. That's exactly what it was. The fans didn't want this for so long, and he just was Cena, and he got through the fire. But
I definitely didn't want it.
Exactly.
Nah, man, the fans did not want John Cena. They were and you forced it. You forced it, and eventually now there's a whole generation that grew up as they were the little kids who were cheering Cena back then as the adults. Like, you kind of ran the adults off, and then all those kids now grew up and are like, yeah, Cena's the GOAT. But people weren't saying that back then. People weren't saying that at all.
So you looked at the spoilers for the show. Did they do any anything to be like, this might be for just Roman's titles? Because they haven't said they haven't said anything at all to be like, if Drew Mac beats him, it's for one championship.
No, I thought it was for Undisputed.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's established that if Drew Mac beats him,
I don't think Drew's winning. Yeah,
I don't think he's winning at all. That's what I'm saying. I don't.
I think it's been established that it's for both titles, though.
Yeah.
Okay.
If I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did look at him because I honestly didn't like SmackDown all that much this week. But I do recognize that they had to tape 2 episodes back to back, and when you have to do that,
that's just always rough.
You kind of have to you gotta kind of space how you're using the roster, because you have to use them essentially twice, and or only use half of them and then use the other half on the next taping. So I didn't like SmackDown.
Something always suffers.
Yeah.
The stuff that on SmackDown wasn't good to me was the women's stuff. I don't think that the tag match stuff was good, and I feel like, that part of that is because Toxic Attraction got hurt, but every time I watch SmackDown, I'm like, they just don't have what Raw has. They have the bigger stars in the women's division on the Raw side. They need somebody on SmackDown, but that's why I think Liv's title reign is.
Well, and
it's
now
gonna be curtain soon.
And the news that they're not going to be doing a draft anytime soon now.
Nah, man. They're going to put that title either back on Ronda or Shayna soon, man. Because it's...
Oh, no. So there is a big angle next week with Ronda. It was huge and gets a big pop and all of that. But...
but no, I was watching it this week and I was like, this women's stuff is not hidden. Like the tag tournament stuff that doesn't involve Damage Control, I guess that's what the new stable was called. It just isn't good. It reeks of this was thrown together at the last minute.
Jake Salazar says Triple H is going to bury Cody, and I'm going to be furious. I don't think he is. I don't think he will.
He's not dumb.
No,
I don't see that happening.
Especially considering how much of a tribute act to Triple H Cody was for a long time.
Yeah,
I'm sure Hunter is very flattered by.
He's like, bro, you're keeping me relevant when I didn't have to be. So
yeah.
Come on, man. Bobby Roode is not on TV anymore. He needs somebody else to do it.
Yeah. Shout out Aaron Bubsy.
What's going on?
Yeah. And we got another. Oh yeah, and then he followed up by saying, "If Cody returns, his montage music should be."
I am definitely not looking forward to all the God did montages we're going to get for the next year.
It's going crazy.
They are going to run that to death, bro.
Seth didn't believe in us, but God did.
Hey, shout out to Busby though.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I'm not looking forward to those montages at all. That's going to get ran to the ground.
Oh no. Chris Mueller said Rock was promoting Planet 51 as DJ. I think.
Oh,
Stinkers,
yeah.
Stinkers.
Oh, one. Yikes.
Stinkers.
And Mike Harmeyer says Marufuji versus Kingston is on at the same time on Fight and cheaper. Talking about NWA.
Oh yeah, tonight. Yeah, that's hot. Hog Wrestling, House of Glory.
So
they also got Malachi Black versus Amazing Red. They got a pretty hot card actually. If you are watching some professional wrestling tonight.
Chaos Control says, "Well, how in the dickens do you remember so much?" I don't know.
You don't smoke.
I honestly, that's probably it too. But like, and I say this because I'm also the go-to for all of my high school friends to remember shit that happened back then. They like all come to me and they're like, "Hey, who was that one person who came?" And I'm like, "Oh yeah, that was Dave Costigan." And they're like, "Okay, cool." They're like, "Do you remember that one day where we were all like sitting outside?" And I'm like, "Yeah, of course I remember that day." So I still am.
Just have a gift. You got to write a book.
I guess so.
Yeah, definitely. For all that knowledge, you can't just keep it in your brain.
Yeah. Let's see. Chris says, if Fight Forever is successful as expected, might we see interest in Def Jam again, or at least Ukes to purchase the IP from EA? I mean, no, Ukes don't got that kind of money.
That Twitter account, the Def Jam Twitter account, keeps trolling us like every couple of weeks to be like, "Hey, if we were to do it, would you guys like it?" They keep trolling us. I don't know why they keep doing this.
Stop, Def Jam. Stop.
Please
it,
stop. Please stop.
Cut it out.
Oh, by the way, I saw some people. I mean, granted, they were all bad faith, but I saw some people like mad that the AEW game is using animations from WWE games. Guys, Ukes used to make those WWE games. Like, because it was I think it was just a back body drop, and they're like, that's the same back body drop from WWE games. And I'm like, yeah, 2K, I mean, Ukes animated that stuff. If I owned a studio that made wrestling games and I had in my bank all the basics, I'm not going to do the work on the basics again. I have all of that. Back body drop. The only shit you should have to do the work on is the proprietary stuff. Stuff like One Winged Angel stuff that you know you don't already have in the bank.
Yeah, you don't need wrestlers coming in to take snapmares and shit. No, that's stupid.
But like,
why do some wrestling fans think that WWE just owns wrestling? What is wrong with you guys?
Like,
they told us for years that that's what it was.
If you have that stuff in the bank, you've got Irish whips, all that shit, just reuse what you have. Like, this is just basic wrestling shit. If Ukes owns that stuff, use it.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure going with Ukes probably saved a ton of money, because you could be like, well, Ukes has been making wrestling games for 25 years.
If anybody knows wrestling games, they do.
If anybody knows wrestling games, they do. If anybody already has an entire library of animations going all the way back to the basic ships, like you said, like a Snapmare, then that saves us a ton of work on having to do anything but the stuff unique to AEW. Because building the game from the ground up takes a lot of time and money.
So much time.
So yeah, sorry that they used the back body drop from, and I saw like people put them side by side. They're like, it's the exact same back body drop. Sure.
Who cares?
Who fucking cares?
Back body drop.
Who cares, man?
If it ain't a sit out back body drop, it ain't a back body drop. Shout out to me, Backyard Wrestling.
Shout out to me. Shout out to me is hilarious.
Let's see. We got a couple more, and then I want to talk about some of the backstage news going on at AEW.
Me too.
So Jake says Triple H starts booking him as Killer Karrion Kross. Those
Stop.
No, hold on
a
minute. Wait a second.
It's out of the realm of possibilities, but remember we needed to book T.
No.
He knows better.
No.
I think.
No.
Van Twinblade says, I'm in the theater waiting for the Dragon Ball movie to start. I'm a bounce. Thank you, Van Twinblade.
Yeah, thanks, man.
So what is it? Dragon Ball Superhero, is it called?
Yep. I've heard some people that like it. I don't know. I haven't seen it.
I am La Lucha says, hey fam, wanted to show love and ask if you think Triple H will be as aggressive in addressing how WWE addresses social issues and, more importantly, representation. Vince didn't give an F, hope H does. I mean, look, I am going to say this, may be controversial, don't give a fuck. Vince never, ever once got it right with an Asian wrestler ever.
Not once.
Vince treated Asian wrestlers from top to bottom like they were there to make him laugh. That was part of why, because I know somebody will say, well, what about Asuka? And I would say, no, Hunter got Asuka right. And then Vince pretty much parlayed off of that, and even still kind of used her for more comedy than anything else.
He did.
And the rest of it has been resting off of what Hunter did for Asuka. But Vince never got it right with Asian wrestlers. When you had Taka Michinoku and you brought him in and like used him for a little bit, but by the end, what was Taka Michinoku doing in WWE? Coming out, doing fucking, doing that gimmick with Shane McMahon on voiceovers, doing a bad impersonation of old kung fu movies, and like that was it. No matter what it was, he always resorted to Japanese wrestlers having to make him laugh, or Asian wrestlers in general making him laugh. That's always what it came down to. And so that's one of the things I am looking forward to is how does Hunter do it? Because Vince saw Akira Tozawa and was like, this guy's going to be a fucking ninja.
Bro,
and
still got his ninja suit on, though.
He's had that ninja stuff on for what, almost
Take
2
that
years?
suit off, Tozawa. Take that suit off. But yeah, I think it's going to be very different for the
It'll be nice to see wrestling run not by the guy who believes in ethnic stereotypes as gimmicks. So
yeah. So are we talking about representation or actual social issues? Because those are kind of two different things. Now, if we're talking about social issues, we're still talking about
apolitical.
Yeah, we're still talking about a middle-aged white guy here. He's not going to get these things right because he. Of course,
and a middle-aged white guy who votes for Trump. Like he's not going to get that right.
A middle-aged white guy that's also done very questionable things on TV. That I mean, if we had to go down the entire list, I mean, I know that he's.
Hold up.
I know that he's the internet's hero right now, but he's done a lot of really questionable things when it comes to race.
We didn't even talk about it. Speaking of people who did questionable things when it comes to race, Road Dogg's back.
Oh God, Brian got his fucking
what
job
an introduction
back.
for Brian.
Brian got his job back. Jesus, and he's still talking. Yo, you got your job back. You can chill on the shit.
Road Dogg, and not only did he get the job, he got Jarrett's job. He got
man.
I feel like Jarrett fell on his sword for Brian.
Yeah,
I feel like that's what happened.
Definitely, they've been attached to each other for so long with the Rhodey and Double J shit. Like, let's just do it again.
Look, I got my bag. I got my bag, Brian. I know you want to be here. I don't really want to be here every week. You can have it, bro. Get
I mean, we're not really surprised. Like when the Triple H rollout started, it's started. He didn't walk into it or nothing. He was like, "Yo, here are my people. Here are my parts."
He's getting his people back in. I mean, look, if you didn't think that this was the Triple H Revenge Tour, I mean, he is bringing back everybody that Vince said wasn't worthy of being in the company anymore. He's bringing back Hunter's bringing back his whole regime. He got Road Dogg in an executive position. He's got, he's bringing back Ryan Katz. He's bringing back his people that were running NXT. I'm sure he's texting Regal right now like,
what you doing over there? You having fun?
Where you at? What you doing? Where you at? Yeah, definitely.
By the way, is you happy?
Like people say that all the time. Like this person wishes blah 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 they were back over there. Or this have this person. Like, they definitely want Regal over there.
Hey, by the way, I gave Louis a lot of shit this week. Happy birthday to Louis, by the way. Yesterday was his birthday.
Birthday to Louis.
But yeah, Louis, chill out.
Wait, what?
Chill out, Louis.
What happened?
He wishes when they asked about Samoa Joe, and he's like, yeah, he wishes he was back in WWE. Louis.
Oh yeah. I mean,
chill out.
I got a lot for that, and yeah. I mean, I will say that the Hunter regime is going to be fascinating. Like I said, the thing is, I think they'll be better with social issues and representation than Vince, just because they're not a senile 77-year-old. But these are also Trump Republicans,
yes,
and every single one of them.
I don't expect them to have WWE Raw Black Lives Matter edition. Like I'm not expecting.
I don't think we want that from them. I don't think we want that from any corporation. I think the thing that people have to realize is that a lot of these people, it's not in their benefit to care about social issues because that's not what they're there for. They're there to make money. They don't care about these things.
They're there to make you forget about the social issues.
Yeah, good branding is what they see that as, and it helps them out and it makes them look good in some ways. That's why they do all the philanthropic stuff. I mean, Stephanie basically admitted it, but that's just what it is. I mean, it's cool.
And somebody's asking how I would know Hunter's political affiliation. Easy. The state of Connecticut has that public. Your voting record. There's a website, voterrecords.com. Look up Paul Levesque. It's all
whoa. You don't even have to do all of that. We've got the evidence. He's been in several pictures at rallies. He's been at pictures at the White House with Trump. What?
There's a family picture of him in the Oval Office being like, "This is us."
It Google it, guys. It's out there.
But there's certain states that that don't make your voter registration public, and Connecticut is not one of them. Connecticut is very public. You look up every McMahon, it's all there, and like it's fine. Look, I don't have to politically agree with anybody. That's
you don't have to dig deep for that
especially
one,
people in power. Like I know what I expect, and that's fine. As a matter of fact, Colorado's also a state that doesn't keep that stuff private. So one of the things I've done for a long time is every time I start a new job, I go to that website and I'm like, okay, let me just look up who I'm working for real quick, get a feel for who this person is, and I know what conversations I can have. And so,
you don't have to dig that. You have to dig that deep for that one, man.
Yeah.
And to be honest with you, I don't know how much of a secret this is with most people, but a lot of white people with a lot of money tend to be Republicans. That's just how it is. I've heard this from quite a few white people that you're open-minded and you're liberal as a kid, but once you are an adult and you have like actual bills and money, then you're a Republican.
Yep. Shit, a lot of black people are like that too. When Trump was giving it up, there are a lot of rich celebrities being like, "Hey, he did a lot for my taxes. He did all this." So like,
by the way,
all kind of stuff.
Jamie Foxx's impersonation of Trump.
Holy shit.
Incredible.
You know what
fucking incredible.
You know what that made me want? So I've been watching the Jamie Foxx show again recently, and you remember Tyrone Koppel, his Ted Koppel character, and I thought, how did he not have Darnell Trump? Like that would have been like a perfect character he could have done.
Yeah. Jamie Foxx is a multi-generation. I don't know, whatever the word is. He's that guy.
Generational.
There you go.
There you go.
That guy, an incredible talent across the board.
I mean, I have to say, I'm really just watching the show again because like Fancy was my girl.
Oh man,
and, like
what a time to be alive! Watching that show, seeing Fancy, and being like, oh my god, what a person! That person exists in the world. Jeez, Louise, Jamie Foxx, you're never gonna get this.
And then he somehow did because that's how television works.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes. Yeah, when they switch the theme song up and all of a sudden he's living with Fancy.
Don't.
The simple things, all I need. Yep. Remember that was a thing. Like 90s sitcoms always had like their establishment theme song, and then like 3 or 4 seasons in, they'd switch it up all of a sudden, and
Sister.
Sister.
They switched it up. Their switch up was a banger though.
Yo. Wow.
Sister. Yeah.
Okay, I do have to talk about the fact that I know why it is, but I still think it's very funny that we have just, as a society, just like thrown Tamara away, and we're just like,
oh man, she is out of here. I watched some clips today from their little reality show. I'm like, they be burying her.
Like, my daughter watches Family Reunion on Netflix, where of course Tia's the mom in that show. Tia was in the game. Tia has had all the roles, and no, they were just straight up like, nah, we don't care for Tamara. Yeah, we're good on Tamara. How does a set of twins who are known for being attached as being twins, how did only one of them go on to have a full-on successful acting career afterwards.
That's the game. No shout out. No, the show that she was on, the game.
Yeah.
That's what it'd be like.
Yeah, sometimes that other twin be talking reckless, man, and
That's all. Yeah, that's
I
it.
know.
King of Games 405 says, by the end of 2021, besides Punk and Moxley, do you see anyone else being world champion?
Maxwell Jacob Freeman.
I could see Max getting it.
Mm-hmm.
But that all depends on, I suppose.
There's a lot of time left in the year, definitely.
Yeah.
Max could get it.
Chaos Control says, I saw the Dragon Ball movie. Half of it was almost unnecessary, but that ending, oh man, that ending, fire.
I feel like that's most of Dragon Ball's content. Like, just think about like Battle of the Gods. Most of Battle of the Gods was completely unnecessary, but we only wanted to fight with Goku and Beerus. Like, the rest of that stuff, who cares? I mean, yeah, it was funny to see Vegeta sing the bingo song, but who cares?
Dio Loki says, Road Dogg worked hard enough.
I'm saying. Bro was the thirstiest nigga of all time.
I'm still revoking his dog privileges. His name is Brian.
You get Brian. 1G at best.
Nah, you get 1G, bro. You can't be doing some of the nasty
stuff.
You
don't even get 1G because you ain't a G. It's just Brian. Rody.
You ain't a G.
Ain't a G. You don't even deserve 1G, my G.
All right, let's talk about some of the backstage stuff going on.
Because it's hot back there. Tony Khan is just stressing, pacing back and forth, dealing with these people. Now, that's what's the funniest thing about it. They don't think about that. It's like, in reality, there's one guy, and there's like 80 different personalities all converging in the same space. Eventually, this shit's going to boil over, especially when like Eddie Kingston really be giving it up. Everything that you hear and see from him, that's real. He ain't bullshit. When he's tweeting, those are real words. When he's talking on the mic on Dynamite, real, all 100% real. He thinks this shit is real. He thinks you're taking away from his livelihood. When you're burying him on the mic, he thinks that's real. He thinks this is a real fight that you're going to be in. He thinks this is all real. So, of course, these things are going to boil over. It's funny seeing everything that's came out of it, seeing the video of Sammy saying it at the little taping. And then it's been like, damn. And then Sammy's statement was like,
we should issued a statement to Fightful.
Sammy was like, we should be professional, but also fuck that professional shit and fuck my coworker. It's like, yo, I don't know what line you're trying to walk here because it seems like you're burying the guy, but you're saying we should all be professional here. I'm confused.
So of course, the context here for people that may not have seen this story. I'm not sure how you might not have seen it.
You did. That's crazy.
But supposedly there was a verbal altercation between Sammy and Eddie. That then some people are saying it turned physical. That is the rumor.
It is telephone wrestler because I've already heard 50 different stories at this point.
Yeah. And the thing is, though, I mean, Sammy said that it got physical, and literally, so the way the story played out was Sammy cut a promo in front of the Rampage crowd, and the promo never aired for TV, and I wondered why it didn't, because I was like, I remember reading that there was a promo, and that didn't happen. He cut a promo in front of the Rampage crowd. In the promo, he addressed Eddie's weight, called him fat, and
fat piece of shit is what he called him.
Yeah, and then when he got to the back, Eddie rushed him and said, "You can't call me fat," and definitely touched Sammy in the face. Some have said pie face, some have said punched. Regardless, there was a hand and a face that resulted in Eddie Kingston being suspended. Eddie has taken ownership of it. Eddie Kingston has been like, I recognize what I did. I was unprofessional. And so we know that side of it. Sammy, in his statement to Fightful, noted that he wasn't trying to fat shame. He was mostly, he said he was just healing. He said that, he wouldn't do that intentionally. He was basically just trying to be the manifestation of the people that you see on Twitter, who...
He says, I see y'all fat shaming him, so I thought my heel character would do that. And I'm like, that's wild, but okay. That's a choice.
I mean, that's a reasonable statement to make.
It is.
That is a... that's a thing that... I can see.
Like I see it's popular online, not popular. I see it's happening online. Maybe I'll try to use it in real life over here.
Yeah. I mean, essentially that's part of the Adam Cole promo that got crossed out of here. That was stuff that people were already seeing online.
Yeah. No, that's pretty much pro wrestling. That's but I guess Sammy talked about in his statement that he had issues with the fact that usually when you enter a feud with somebody, you discuss beforehand what's off limits and what isn't, and if it's not
reoccurring theme here, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
it's a reoccurring theme in a lot of these backstage issues,
and I think Eddie just kind of
talking to each other.
Right, I think Eddie just kind of felt like that was an unspoken one. I think it was just like if you
but you can't assume that.
Yeah, but he's like, if you know my history, you know that's gonna piss me off. So why?
Yeah, I get it, you know? I get that to a degree, but you just never know anybody's triggers. Like I could be sitting like it's a work, it's for the show, you know that. But he might have legitimately got mad. And that's kind of why I don't see why a lot of people online are getting mad at Sammy, because it pains me to say
felt like
this.
He was working. I'm not mad about it.
It pains me to say this, but I don't think Sammy was wrong here.
No, I don't think so.
I think that Sammy's
I think the end
reputation
of his statement was a little bit like... Oh, no, I don't think so either.
I don't think he was wrong with the promo he did. I don't think he thought he was in his parameters of where he could go with it.
And Eddie Kingston has even said that. Like, Eddie Kingston has straight up said, like, Sammy was not wrong here, guys. Like, please stop. I was wrong.
Right. And so I think that Sammy's reputation overall precedes him. So everything he does now, people are like, God, I just hate Sammy. And it's like, he still, you can't just punch a guy because you didn't like what he said in a promo. Like, you just can't, especially like this is work. You can't do that. Anybody at work, you can't do that.
Especially to somebody the caliber of Eddie Kingston, who does promos that could have gotten
right. I mean, to be real with you, like, Punk got at him in that promo. I still laugh all the time at him going, "Yo, you're a bum," like, and saying that like on national TV. Like, he can't come backstage and like get in his face after that and punch the guy. Like, you can't do that. So I think that both of them can have handled this better. And like I said, this is a reoccurring theme that let me know what you're doing. If this is the stick, if this is the work, let me know, because that was the issue with Punk and Hangman as well. Let me know what you're doing. And I feel like that's an issue in both of these things.
And that goes back to my story that the statement that was being made was no more taking liberties in promos, guys. Like, you guys can't do that. You guys, the way I heard it was put, the Tony's words were, and that's why I put it in quotes in the article, was you're flying too close to the sun on this stuff now. Right. Like,
he's like, he wants them to have freedom with their promos. He doesn't want to assign scripts, but he's like, I can't let you guys continue to do this if you're gonna just go completely off the start. If I'm giving you time on my show, and then I say you got 5 minutes, but you're talking about something that doesn't have to do with anything, then we have a problem here. We have to make sure everything is flowing in the way. You can't just be out there like, I got my own agendas, fuck this guy, because that's not how a professional wrestling show works.
Yeah, you gotta let the other person you're working with know what's going on, and that's why I'm like, reoccurring thing here. Like I said, the Hangman and Punk thing, this thing, Britt Baker.
Yeah. Britt be letting him loose. She is so funny.
What are you doing, Britt?
And that was the other story that's been circulating around about, David Bixenspan did a big article basically talking to anybody who's worked with Thunder Rosa. And Fightful Select had a story about detailing heat with Thunder Rosa. There's stuff as far as the women's locker room not getting along. There's definitely
we have heard some rumblings for a while.
We have been hearing it for a while. Yeah, I know. As a matter of fact, talking about memory, the people who cite little things that we say or do here, where they were like, somebody brought up how after the Grapsody episode, right before Battle of the Belts, and they were like, Will kind of hinted at something that happened after the Jamie Hayter and Thunder Rosa match. And I was like, oh, I guess I did. How the hell do you remember that?
Got that camera and microphone in front of you, buddy.
I know, right? Like, I did say that, like, things happened. And the story that's out there was what I was talking about. And that it's out there now. Thunder Rosa did break Jamie Hayter's nose. After the match was over, there was
Jamie Hayter was not happy about it.
Not happy. I would say there was the opposite of a confrontation, in that they got backstage and went opposite direction. It was like though it was bad. It was real bad. But yeah, regardless, Thunder Rosa's hurt now. It's not the way she talked about it was, it's not like it's a nagging injury, not a specific injury, because the thing people turned to was, she had no matches. What are you talking about? She's injured.
Yeah.
So that was where the speculation came about that she wasn't.
It's like, that makes more sense because she hasn't been wrestling because she's been hurt. Yeah.
Right. That she
It's just a wild coincidence that it happened at this time. So because people are making the correlation of like, oh, she's out because of heat, she's out because of blah blah blah. But it's like,
what I think it more so is that she was hoping to be better before the pay-per-view, and now we're a week out, and it's like, no, she can't. So we're crowning an interim champion.
Right.
Story going around is that it was always going to be Toni Storm winning the title, which good for her, because
I mean,
Toni Storm has been pretty well over since she came in. She's
been my favorite AEW women's wrestler since she came in. Like, all of her matches they bang.
She's the only women's wrestler on the roster who willingly jumped ship.
Right.
She is the only one who AEW picked up that wasn't released from their contract before. She quit WWE and came to AEW, and that is one of those things that
how about knowing your worth?
Yeah, and AEW has been willing to show kind of a reward for it, right? Of like, you actively chose this company when you left that other company while in the middle of a program with Charlotte Flair for the SmackDown Women's title. And
which sounds insane.
You actively left, came over here. And yeah, I've heard other stuff around that, but like beyond that, it's at the end of the day, this is where she is, and she has been over. She has lived up to her performances. Actually, this is somebody I would reward with a title reign.
Yep.
So I do think she's winning the 4-way. But man, am I happy it's a 4-way? Are you fucking kidding me?
Yo.
With these four? With
and your favorite wrestlers back in here to replace
Shida is
Rosa.
wrestling in the Mecca, brothers. Happening.
Hikaru Shida, Britt Baker, Toni Storm, and Jamie Hayter. Are you kidding me? And the fact is, like, remember I used to talk about the Fatal 4-ways that they used to do back in the early AEW days, and like Shida won 3 of the 4 of them, I think. But they were just all bangers, right? It was just a fun, just kind of balls to the wall 4-way. Kenny put those together, and like to know that the best of those Fatal 4-ways had actually, out of those 4 Fatal 4-ways, Britt and Shida were in 3 of them. Britt and Shida are coming up in this one, so I know I got Britt, Shida, and then they got 2 extra great pieces added on to it. Yeah.
Oh, I would not be mad at all if Shida won. By the way, I think that she.
I wouldn't be, but I still feel like no matter what, it's Tony's time.
It's Tony's time.
I agree. I'm just saying that I wouldn't be upset if Shida got another reign. She kind of deserves it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think Mix did a great job on that piece, because I think it was very comprehensive in the sense that he talked to people that had issue with her. He talked to people that had positive things to say about her. I felt like he covered the injury stuff well, because I've seen a lot of people that are like, oh, well, she's not injured, and then they'll throw like the bathroom story in there, which I don't believe that happened, and even if it did, that doesn't really have any bearing on the story itself. And I feel like when you put that kind of stuff in the story, it makes it harder to believe it.
Right.
Regardless if it happened,
people are just going to latch on to that part anyway.
Exactly. It's kind of like the Punk thing, how people were latching on to the point where he was saying that he threatened to leave, and people were only talking about that part, and they were like, "Oh, well, that's not true, so the whole story's not true." And it's like, no, just that part is exaggerated.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think he handled it in a good way. I think that the Rosa stuff is more complicated than people think. I don't think it's just essentially, okay, this person doesn't like her, so nobody likes her. It sounds like from what he was saying, there were extras that had stuff to say about her. There were people on the roster that did, but at the same time, there were people that enjoyed working with her. So it's kind of like any working environment. There's going to be some people that don't like you, and there's going to be some people that do. It is what it is. I don't think her injury is a work either. I know people were trying to run with that. I don't think this back injury would just come out of nowhere. And from what
try to say, Thunder Rosa lost her smile like Shawn Michaels.
Yeah, I saw somebody make that.
Yeah, that's
it was actually pretty good.
Like, you guys.
Yeah, from what she described on Busted Open, it doesn't sound like that's the case. It sounds like it's a real injury. I could be wrong.
Like, if you're working, don't work that hard because you're scaring me. Saying like your legs and your back and you're in bed, like, don't work it that hard if it's a fucking work. So that's why I have to believe it's real.
But see, the part that confuses me is she was saying that it sounds like she's going to be out for a while, and then we're also hearing they don't think she's going to be out long. That's why they did make her vacate the title, and so it's kind of like, which is true. The other part of this is people making such a big to-do about her not cutting her promo in ring.
Mm-hmm.
That didn't bother me that much. I don't know why people made that big of a deal out of it. I would have been more bothered if she had to vacate her title because they haven't made anybody else do that. I think it says more about what they see in that division and Rosa that they didn't make her vacate the title. But that's just me.
Yeah. And speaking of vacating titles, we got to talk about the last big thing of the week. John Moxley squashed CM Punk.
Oh, well, he didn't vacate. So
shit.
You know what I mean? It just lost. He just outright lost.
Damn,
and man,
no
he's now officially
he's
officially the shortest reigning AEW World Champion.
In the mud, as some people would say, right, Phil?
I mean, you know what though? I appreciate that because I would like to kind of change up some of the records. Like Jericho had a good reign. That doesn't need to be the shortest.
You know how I was preaching when Hangman was champion that every championship doesn't have to be the longest. Everything doesn't have to be.
There's wrong with short. There's nothing wrong with short reigns.
Nothing at all.
Yeah. But
matches too. I like that. I like this story that they told with this match.
Like people want to talk about Punk as a professional. I'll say this. Punk, and I said this on Day After Dynamite, that man came out here like he was on top of the world. That man did not boo-boo face this in the slightest.
There was no tell.
Because you know, like King Boo Boo Face was, what's his name? Alberto Del Rio, right? Like, you knew when he was coming out, and he had this grim look on his face like he's about to drop the title to John Cena. And that's exactly what happened. Nah, CM Punk came out here hype. It's clobbering time. He looked like he was going to dominate this man, John Moxley, who made short work of him. I saw somebody, though, make the good joke that as he was making the kick, what happened? What caused Punk to go down? A heel turn? Was he turning his heel? Because that's kind of what it looked like.
Hilarious.
I was like, that's pretty damn good. And yeah, Moxley is the undisputed champion. Is that not how that was supposed to go? It's like my favorite line. Right
Moxley
now.
has been playing the perfect role in all of this.
Mox was great throughout this entire thing, and I'm glad he got that moment. I think he deserved it because he carried that main event scene on his back for 2 months, so he deserved this. But the way that he hit both of those Death Riders and pinned them, and as soon as the count was over, he flipped off the camera like, yeah, fuck all you guys that didn't think I could beat him. Fuck out of here. I am your champion now. I'm not keeping anybody's feet warm. This is my title. I main evented in his hometown. This is my show. Yeah. And I felt that. Like his promo afterwards, perfect. He got all of his shit off. I was like, talk to him. And so, of course.
The match is still on. So,
match is still happening. I don't know why people are buying into the work. Oh, he's really hurt. He was milking it, guys.
Phil Lindsey wasn't shot. He wasn't. They didn't trick him for 1 second. He wasn't. It was not for 1.
I was sitting looking at it at the end because at first I was like, because this is just how great these guys are, both Punk and Mox. After Punk threw the kick, I was like, oh wait, is he really hurt? Because he was selling this thing great, but after the match was over and how he kept selling it, I was like, he's definitely selling. The way the camera kept zooming in on him selling, and I think the biggest tell was him walking out and the look on his face while he was walking out and how the camera made sure to get that. Nah. I was like, nah, the match is still happening. This is Chicago Phil milking it up.
Road to All Out special this is that shot right here for that special for him getting his championship back. Like, this is happening.
Yeah, but nah, I think the story here is great. It would have been very easy for them to have Punk come back and do the whole, oh, well, I'm going to beat you. I'm the best ever. And then go straight to Chicago and beat him and then just write Mox off. I think this is much better because you gave Mox his moment and then you added more layers to this story. Because the story is really that Punk underestimated him. Yep. He came back straight away and he down-talked him. He mocked him. And then he came out in this match. And once that foot was hurt, Mox didn't give him a second. He was like, nah.
Punk told him he wasn't the real champion. Like, he dogged him when he came back. Yeah,
exactly. So really, this kind of looks like comeuppance for Punk, not just for underestimating him, but for the stuff with Hangman, for basically eking out every win up to this point. When you really look at it, Punk kind of got lucky a lot of times. He got lucky in the title match. If Hangman doesn't hesitate, does Punk win that match?
Right.
If Wardlow doesn't help him in that MJF match, does he win that match? So that's the story that he's been eking out all these
Wardlow
wins.
match.
Yeah. So that's the story. He's been eking out all these wins until he got up against Mox and his body just legitimately failed him and he lost. So I think it's a great story going into Chicago. When he first got to the company, he told everybody the most dangerous place to face me is in Chicago. Not for Moxley, who has won 2 titles in your hometown.
Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say it's great. I think the build they've done is fantastic.
Yeah, I was just going to say that it tells a great story. That match tells a great story. The match that happens at Dynamite tells a great story of Moxley and the Blackpool Combat Club because they kind of pitch that way of wrestling. And, like, if your opponent's hurt, you don't have any sympathy. You get on him, you finish the match, and it's over. And he immediately starts hitting the Blackpool Combat elbows when Punk gets hurt. And you know it's like, damn, it's getting when it's that time, the match is pretty close to ending, and it was super close to ending. And
yeah, I mean,
put a stamp on it.
This is the other funny part to me about people that think he's really hurt. If he was really hurt, do you think Mox would have jumped on him and started twisting his ankle and twisting that foot? No.
If he was really hurt, because people were thinking that he was hurt beforehand, and that's why they did a short match. If he was really hurt, they wouldn't have approved the match, period.
No.
Exactly. He wouldn't. If he was really hurt, he wouldn't have been back out there hopping on that foot. They would have had this guy wrapped in bubble tape for weeks into All Out. They're not letting him out there to do that. But again, like I said, that's the great story they did here. The way he gloated when Mox was coming out to the ring doing the snow angels and man, again,
and he got checked. He was too cocky and he got checked.
Mox didn't get was serious the whole time. There wasn't a point where he was like, "This is a joke." He was like, "No, dude, I'm coming to the show to beat your ass."
This is to liken this to a Rocky reference. This is Rocky and Rocky 3. He thought he had this sold up, and Clubber came out there and beat his ass. And he came out there and tried to hot dog it, and Clubber beat his ass. That's what happened.
Yep.
Drizzy Drew says, man, TK needs an enforcer or needs to delegate more. All of that actually happened. That was a big part of the meeting this week was talking about kind of the new line of succession and how you can, who everybody has the ability to talk to.
Dude, Arn Anderson's there. He has an actual enforcer.
Got the enforcer. Okay, so
there.
Man, I keep seeing this. People are like, he sold the wrong ankle. No, he didn't. Because
oh my God, yeah.
People think ridiculous. That he landed the kick with the foot that was injured. No, his foot went out on the foot that's injured. So he at one point that he grabbed he grabbed that foot and people exaggerated, but no, he didn't. He
you
sold this
also,
right.
even if he does grab that other foot, he's selling hitting someone's head with his foot, so you can sell that too. That's how this all works.
I thought this was perfectly booked. I thought this was a great way to add more interest to this matchup. And man, are you kidding me? Punk coming out to cut the promo next week in Chicago ahead All Out. It's gonna be fire. And I'm telling you right now, buddy.
Jesus Christ.
I'm telling you right now. Listen, I've seen people do it and say, "Oh, does Phil have to remind us he's from Chicago?" Yes, I do, motherfucker. Let me tell you right now, buddy. If I am in the building for two AEW title wins from Punk, oh my God. Cut Twitter off, cut the cameras off, shut it out. It's over, buddy. It's over. Two-time Phil, back to back in 1 year. Forget about it, buddy. Forget it. Yeah, it's gonna be horrible for guys. That's why I've been watching Twitter and seeing how people are like, Punk's in the mud. Nah, get your jokes in now. Eat it up now, buddy.
You're about to be in the mud, buddy.
Boy, if my man wins this title in Chicago, forget about it. Forget it.
Hey, let's wrap up with the last of them. Ronan Mike Clip says, I used to cover gaming/movie news. WWE had a party and Triple H was there. Me and a friend wanted to take a picture with him. He was struggling with his phone, and Hunter said, how many Mexicans does it take to take a photo? True story. I mean, guys, like I said, most of the most racist shit that's taking place in WWE usually had Hunter somewhere nearby. I remember there was that DX Great Khali segment, and Hunter put on his fucking Indian accent. Did anybody remember that? Yes. It's real bad. And
I mean, one of the most racist moments in WWE history, like top 3, top 2, he was a part of it. The DX blackface thing. Like, come on,
him doing the gorilla ooga booga thing.
Oh yeah,
he's had some bad moments.
Booker promo, like it's bad out here.
Yeah, he's had some bad moments.
But that's we're moving forward.
Yeah, man. But what a great week. I think more.
Go ahead. Sorry.
I think that the second hour of Dynamite this week was probably the most exciting I've ever seen, because
that was pretty
just
hot.
Everything from the Punk match to the main event, after the main event, everything was just fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Orlando says, I want Sheeta to win since she didn't have a title reign in front of fans. It will go to Tony. Yeah, I know.
Get her Mox moment.
Yeah. I did get to break the news on Sheeta having a title defense on Monday. That's going to be on Monday. Defending the Wave title against Emi Sakura.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, really,
that was a cool little scoop I happened upon.
Yeah, baby, scoops, baby.
I mean, really, in the Fatal 4-Way, I don't think there's a bad option, because I don't think any of those women winning is bad. And I know people are going to be like, but Britt, I don't want Britt to win either for numerous reasons. But the person that would get the most out of that story-wise is probably Britt. That's just, to be honest, but I don't want her to
see
win.
Britt and
I don't want her to win either.
Yeah, I don't want to see Britt and Thunder Rosa again, no matter what this has to set up.
You're getting Britt versus Thunder Rosa again, buddy. It's gonna happen.
Britt's trying to become Charlotte. Let's get it. Let's keep it up.
Hannah says, guys, how good is wrestling right now? OMG, a delight, chef's kiss, life's good.
It's amazing. That main event was insane. Blew all of our brains out, that Dynamite main event. Oh my God.
Again, as I'm gonna keep saying, stop talking about wrestling like a zero-sum game, guys. If one company's good, I know this is how you felt for a while, right? Because you've been like, well, AEW was good and WWE wasn't, and now WWE is good, so AEW must not be. Or I can only doesn't have to be that way. You do only need to enjoy whatever you enjoy. You are not required to enjoy anything you don't. And I was trying to tell people that literally the last couple of years, when people are like, well, why don't you do this for WWE when you do it for AEW? Because I didn't like Vince McMahon's writing. I was finally sick of that shit. I was sick of that shit for the last
forever.
But I've been sick of it for many years. But the last 3 or 4 years were the point where I reached where I was like, I don't have to put up with this. I don't have to. So I stopped. I stopped caring. But
October 4th, 2019. That was the day.
But I have But my taste, the only thing I am loyal to when it comes to pro wrestling is my taste. That's it. It's shit I like. If I don't like it, you're gonna hear from me that I don't like it.
And shout out to WWE, man. They're back. They started SmackDown.
Shout out to WWE.
They started.
Who are you?
They Look, this is crazy, man.
Who is this guy?
They started SmackDown with a wrestling match, Ricochet and Happy Corbin. But it started with a wrestling match, not a bullshit ass long ass promo. They got to it, and I'm gonna give it up to WWE because I've been watching their shit consistently, and that's all I wanted. When I was ranting on here being upset, it's because I genuinely have loved this company my whole life, dude. And like for it to be shitty and me waste time watching it, that hurt me. And so I just want the show to be good. If it's good, I'm gonna watch it. It's good, I'm watching it. Shout out to the WWE.
No, I feel you. I absolutely agree.
Like I gave up money, I gave up time, I've given up so much for them. I want a reward for it. I know it sounds crazy, but reward me for being here, man. Like, and shitty writing and short matches and all that bullshit is not rewarding me for being here. Now they're rewarding me for being here. So,
yeah, and yeah, a couple more things. We got a couple more.
WWE's coming to the Bay Area and say it's September. What, my $35?
Bay Area.
Back. I don't know what's going on. Am I going to give them another 35?
Somebody said Reg has been hacked.
Look, guys,
I'm a robot.
I don't know why people thought we had company loyalty. That's not the case. We're just loyal to our taste. If anything, other way around. I think that. Because I've seen people come at me when I tweet positively about WWE, and they're like, "Oh, look at the AEW guy who's coming. Why are you suddenly into WWE?" Because the only thing that I'm loyal to is my motherfucking taste.
I've watched WWE for way longer than AEW. So like a year, 20 years, so much longer. How would I not? You know what I mean? It just doesn't stop.
That's it. That's all I care about. Is this good programming for me?
I'm excited.
I am very much liking the longer matches on television, having a lot of fun with those.
And
KO is back, baby. That's what
KO is back. I love KO. Sami Zayn. I love all. It's amazing. Finn Balor's getting this shit off. Like, yes, do it. Thank you.
Only thing I didn't like this week was Edge.
I'm still, there's still some kinks to be worked out.
There's definitely kinks to be worked out.
But other than that, I'm having fun, and I'm having fun with everything right now.
We've done like 3 Grapsodies in a row where the whole talk was about WWE. So
they gotta stop that show talk, man. It's not working no more.
Man.
I don't know, man.
Let's see. We got Life of Deem said, "What's up, Grapsody crew? Happy Saturday. Everything going on has me so excited because I don't know what's coming next. Wrestling fans are eating good."
That's the thing too. Yeah, news is coming so fast. I'm like, damn, I didn't even know about that. There's 50 million stories.
Man, if you look at it within the last 2 weeks, man, Ospreay has been feeding the people, boy. Ooh, that Ospreay G1 match, the match that he had last week, the match that he had this week, Ospreay's killing it, man.
The 6-man on Dynamite was, I wasn't sure how they would find a way for Will Ospreay and Aussie Open to win, but because I didn't want Death Triangle to lose, but hey, we found it out.
The brother did 3 5-star plus matches in 1 week.
By the way,
now he's about to share a ring with Kenny.
He's about to do it again. He's about to do it again for sure on Wednesday. No doubt about it.
Yo, Ospreay wrestling in the Mecca again. Come on, we'll take it, man.
Oh my god! And Chi-Town too with that hot ass crowd.
I'm not going, but I'm excited.
Well, you mean to tell me right now you wouldn't go, knowing now what you're about to get on that show? You wouldn't make that 30-minute trek.
Sure?
Man, I just don't want to travel all the way out to Hoffman.
It's a lot
on Wednesday. I kind of want to go, but I'm not going.
Phil,
you're about to miss a 5-star match, a guaranteed 5-star match.
I'm gonna watch it at home. I'm not gonna miss it.
Guaranteed. I'm talking about being in there, feeling the energy, feeling it in your soul.
Come on, I was there for Mox versus Ospreay at Windy City Riot. I was there for Mox versus Orange Cassidy.
Pretty hot.
I've ate well this year, so I can miss this.
Man, Forbidden Door. I hate y'all, man. That's crazy out here. What a lie.
I hate y'all.
Kettle says,
"Oh, you ain't me yet. Oh my God! Don't let my guy win on Sunday, man."
We got you.
Kel says, if we look at AEW in a sports format, TK is a great GM/owner with a great roster, but in most sports, the GM HC Booker doesn't work. Given its quality roster, wouldn't TK benefit from a Booker coming in? TK's eye. It says TK's eye for talent. No, guys. Do you realize in its history, WWE had one Booker, Vince McMahon. I know there's been different people creatively who have contributed, but it had one Booker the entire time.
Went through one guy.
It was Vince. Now, and that's why I think it's weird when people are like, well, TK needs to get somebody else booking.
I think that's his favorite part. That's what makes me laugh. I'm like, I think he would get people to do all the other jobs surrounding it and just book. He loves to book. Like it's not an extra burden on him. He likes doing that shit.
I promise you, guaranteed, as long as he is in charge, never going to happen. Never going to happen. It's his company. He is going to be the booker. And again, Vince McMahon was eternally the booker of WWE. Like, yeah, you have Vince Russo, who is the head writer, but at the end of the day, the booker was Vince McMahon. The booker is the person who decides ultimately what happens on this show. Now, you could have writers who decide how you get there, but ultimately, booker was Vince, and it was always Vince. If Booker said it was Booker, if Vince said it was at the end of the day, it is Undertaker versus Stone Cold Steve Austin. That is Vince McMahon's decision. Now, Vince Russo would book the feud as far as how you get there. That would always be again. That could be a Vince Russo. That could have been a Bruce Pritchard. Lots of guys decided how you got there, but at the end of the day, the booker was Vince. And as far as we're concerned, it's Tony Khan who will ultimately say, this is the feud. It's going to be CM Punk versus John Moxley. Now, CM Punk and John Moxley are both creative guys. They can help decide how they get there week to week. But the booking itself will be Tony Khan, and it's always going to be Tony Khan. And I think he's been really clear about that. I don't see it changing. I don't think it's going to.
We've asked him in their free pressers about we were asking him about Ring of Honor and if somebody was going to come in, and he was explicitly like, no, I'm booking all of this. This is mine. This is my job. He's like, I have a couple people that pitch ideas and all this stuff, but for the most part, this is me, and it's going to continue to be me.
Yeah. You can say there needs to be some other creative elements added. Sure. But as far as booking is concerned, he's not going to give that up. That's a lot of power to give up for your promotion. Yeah. And as you can see, Vince had to be dragged out of it at 77 years old.
Yo,
he was not giving that spot up ever, Vince, dude. Ever.
WWE has its of all of our lifetimes. WWE has its first non-Vince Booker of our lifetime
ever.
That's wild. And so to even think 3 years in that the guy who started this company is going to give up his booking spot, it's not going to happen. I don't know where anybody thinks that idea comes from. It's not.
This is a very weird timeline. I mean, seeing those pictures from his birthday or whatever this weekend, and he was just in regular clothes.
I will tell you.
Weird.
I will tell you that I had a clip because everybody's like, John Cena goes out to dinner with Vince McMahon. I had that clip of John Cena queued up. It's still in my drafts of John Cena just saying that time he opened a promo with, life is all about choices. And it was just that clip. And I was going to post that.
Yeah. The people that you would expect were there. I don't know why people were like, oh, this person was there. Why would you be surprised that Brock is there? Brock is a Vince guy. Come on.
That's the least surprising thing ever.
Your beloved Pat McAfee is also a Vince guy. I hate to break it to you guys. I don't know why that's a surprise. I don't know.
Of course, the Undertaker, Cena, Pat McAfee,
and these are all guys that you would expect. And I don't even have a problem with it because it's these are people that have been loyal to him. He's done great things by them for their career, and they still consider him friends. Yeah, of course.
Brock Lesnar's been with them for he's been letting Brock Lesnar bury people for 20 years. You think he's not about to show up to his dinner? You've been letting me control your show for 20 years. I will show up to eat a steak with you, bro.
By the way, because I saw this, people that were comparing Punk losing on Wednesday to Kofi getting squashed, that was nasty.
No,
Ooh,
that's
that was
the
nasty.
nastiest shit I've ever heard.
That's the dumbest shit I've ever heard in my life.
Ooh, that was nasty. There's a storyline here. There was no story for
how these
Kofi.
Things work. Totally different circumstances. Totally
nasty
different
comparison,
everything.
buddy. Hold on. I need to do some math really quick. Give me just a second. You guys keep talking. Keep talking, but I got some math.
Yeah, I just think that people have got to stop doing
I need to look
this.
something up.
Something happens over there. So if you were mad at this that WWE did, you got to be mad at this thing. I just think it's a stupid way to view the programming. And every time you do that, it's stupid. Just like when people were saying Hangman's run was like Big E's run. No, it wasn't. Stop making these dumb comparisons just because you don't like AEW. Like, if you don't like AEW, just don't watch it, man. It's not that serious.
Especially when CM Punk's gonna like get a rematch in 2 weeks and like win it.
Probably win.
You know what I mean? Like they're totally different.
Again, I'm telling you, I've already warned you guys ahead of time.
It's bad.
This guy wins.
Oh my
okay.
God.
I have my answer. So
they could have.
Let's just on a comparison of time of the amount of time Kofi got in his match versus the amount of time CM Punk got in his match. It is a 2,275% increase in time between those two matches. What the fuck are you talking about? It's 8 seconds. 8 seconds versus 190 seconds. What the fuck are you talking about?
He didn't even, if you really pay attention to it, he didn't even beat him with a paradigm shift. He beat him with 2 Death Riders. Right. 2. Yeah, exactly. It wasn't like he just squashed him with a paradigm shift and was like, all right, well, that's it. Because that's what happened. That's what happened to Kofi. No, this ain't the same thing.
Kofi literally ran in F5 1 2 3.
Yeah,
that was it. Michael Cole hadn't even finished promoting the thing that was sponsoring the match. Where he's like, "This match is sponsored by whatever," and then Kofi runs in, gets F5 1 2 3. Not even the fucking same. Get out of here with that shit.
It might be a sore point for me because I'm still mad the way they did Kofi.
My hands
still hate
this. This is how my hands go every time we start talking about that. They automatically go to middle fingers anytime that story comes up.
I still hate that they did that to Kofi.
God, I hate it.
Make it right, and it makes me even madder when when that great highlight reel came out of Shelton. This, by the way, and put some respect on Shelton's name. He's a legend. And when I saw that, and I was like, yeah, Shelton should have been champion. And then when I think, like, Kofi was champion, and that man still hasn't got his second reign. Make it right, Triple H. Make it right.
And speaking of Shelton, you guys stop recycling fucking content. I don't want, in 2 weeks, we're going to have the same thing. Come up with something new. We know Shelton Benjamin was underrated. We know that he should have had the belt. But we get it. You're going to say it again in 2 weeks. Stop it. We get it. Do something else. Stop stealing tweets. Come up with your own.
Stop stealing tweets for sure. I definitely see people stealing your guys' tweets, and I don't care that it's done.
Remix. I'd be like, I see your little remix, but I know what's
remixing
going on
your man's
here,
tweets,
bro.
man. I seen it. I seen it. It's nasty work.
Derek Gordon says TK told the story on Swerve's podcast about writing shows as a kid. He's never giving that up.
Yeah, no, he loves that shit.
Yeah, it's not happening.
Look at him. He loves it.
You look at him. He loves it.
Look at him. Jake Salazar says, I'm a fill on this. I'm going to be completely out of pocket if Punk wins again. You know he's going to. Hey, this is going to be a great weekend, though, because coming up this week, Black Wrestlers Matter is happening on Friday, which we were going to talk about, but then I just realized we're doing a show on Friday. So actually,
I will be there as well.
Yeah.
Oh, sweet. Yeah, we can talk about it, but in depth.
Yeah. Well, so on Friday, we will be back for another edition of Grapsody in less than a week. Plus, we've got Ask Grapsody coming up. Plus, I have a new show debuting tomorrow. In case people haven't been following me on Twitter, I along with my I suppose best friend and worst enemy in Denise Salcedo, and that combination, we will be hosting a new show called After the Week every Sunday. That's going to air at 1 p.m. Eastern. That's 10 a.m. Pacific. Sorry, Denise, that I'm making you get up that early.
Why y'all gotta do this to us, man? It's early. Me and Denise are West Coast kids.
I know, right? No, that was what we talked about. Where I was like, "Look, I'm not gonna do the Grapsody stuff to you, but
an hour later it'll work."
Yeah, but I'm like, but we still gotta do this fairly early. So yeah, that'll be this Sunday. Check it out. As I said on Ask Grapsody, got a great theme song done by the great Mikey Ruckus. I'm really excited for you guys to hear and laugh at that because it's definitely fun and funny. I'm really happy with it. That's After the Week. Will Washington, Denise Salcedo. That will be not on Fightful though. That'll be on Denise's YouTube channel, youtube.com/Denise Salcedo. So check that out. It'll be every week, every Sunday, and little just look back at the week that was.
Hey, and shout out to your daughter. It's her birthday. Big 1-1 out here, killing the game. Award-winning actress extraordinaire. Just great talent. I'm going to ride her coattails. I'm going to be at the MTV Movie Awards. Like, I believed in her since day one. She is so cool. She's the coolest.
It's over for you, California. It's over for you,
California.
buddy.
You're out of here.
You're heading into teenager land, buddy.
Oh
it's
my
over,
God.
man.
California is
11,
gone,
dude.
bro.
I can't do it. I can't.
It's over, buddy. I've watched it happen with my big sister, and watching how all of her kids have gotten older, and they're like slowly progressing into that being embarrassed by their parents mode and pushing away from their parents. Yeah, buddy. It's over for you, Cal.
You out of here. You out of here. California's on the rope. She's tall, too, man. She's about to be towering over you, too. You're about
to be towering over.
No, Veda, not tall. She's
not tall.
Oh, not in the slightest. As
man, you got some angles over there. She be looking tall in them pictures.
I know. No, so she throws me off, right? Because she's actually really small. She is because she's my only...
her parents are pretty. Yeah. You guys are pretty tall.
What about, Corey is 5'7". I'm 6 foot. Like, in theory, but according to the height calculator, Veda's going to top out at 5'5" at best.
Oh, damn.
Just based at the rate she's growing. No, she is...
you got some great angles over there. You fooled me.
I know. She is 4'9" currently, and she's my only point of reference for how tall an 11-year-old is supposed to be. So, like, every time I see her, I'm like, man, you're getting so big. And then I had back to school night the other night. I went up to the school. All these kids are so huge. And I'm like,
you're like,
what are these? I'm like, who are these kids? And Veda's like, oh, these are my classmates. I'm like, why are they so big? And I'm reminded she's genuinely the smallest in her grade. And I don't know how, but she is a short kid. 4'9". All her friends are over 5 foot.
What kind of cake y'all eating over there? You make it? Y'all bake it?
Yeah, we made a cake. Sorry. It was a text from Denise because I forgot we're also doing. I think Denise and I are doing 3 podcasts this week because we're also doing and this was her thinking about. I'm going to bust her out because she is, no, I'm doing a show right now. About what time we're supposed to be doing our All Out preview on Thursday. So just lots of podcasts happening because, of course, I got Day After Dynamite Thursday. This is a busy week of podcasts. If you're in Chicago, come out and see us because we're going to be there. And by Chicago, I mean Hoffman Estates because it ain't actual Chicago. And it's going to be a fun week. I'm going to try and get as much content as possible. We might be doing some interviews.
Yeah, I was going to say, I thought is that happening?
I haven't gotten confirmation, but the ask is out there, so we should.
So we might possibly have an interview coming this week.
So don't be upset if we're not here on Saturday. You're getting plenty of content.
Matter of fact, that's a good idea. Okay, I figured it out. Figured the shit out. All right,
there you go,
folks. Grapsody is just going to be out here continuing to do what Grapsody does best, and that is giving it to you. This is what we do. Thank you for your support of Grapsody. Thank you for watching this episode, and we will be back next week. This time on Friday. I don't have the exact time yet. Could be same time. Might not be. Don't know. But either way, we will be here on Friday. And also check out After the Week because I'm really looking forward to that show as well. So,
hey, happy birthday to Veda, man! And
yeah,
shout out to Grapsody legend Billy. I ain't taking no respect on Billy, man. Anybody that's hopping on the internet disrespecting Billy,
that's disrespect my son.
No,
the dumb shit about that was, I can't believe I'm actually addressing this. I can accept my son being called a dork because you know what? My son is fairly dorky. And guess what? So is his dad. I am. So I can accept that from most people.
Bro, I saw that outfit he had on when Sean Ross Sapp ran him down. You can't talk about dorks because you're king dork, bro. You can't talk about dorks. You're a fucking dork.
Yeah, like if you are a fucking dork and a piece of shit, no, you don't get to say that about my kid. You don't.
Nah, that was nasty work. And I wouldn't have addressed it. But again, Billy is a Grapsody legend. What would our first episode have been without Billy running in the room?
Come on.
He's a draw, man. He brought us numbers in that first episode, man. Shout out to the young legend.
I have to now go and turn this room right here that you guys see every week on Grapsody into my daughter's slumber party room. Because it being her birthday weekend, she is having like 5 girls over.
Is it One Direction themed? I don't know. What are the popular? One Direction might be out, right? Isn't it like
so they're gonna watch
now?
So my daughter has already seen the movie Sneakerella 100 times, and she's now about to subject all of these.
I don't even know what that is.
I know. I don't have no idea what that is. Now the whole crew has to watch it. I'm guessing it's a hip hop version of Cinderella, is what it sounds like.
Pretty much.
Oh god.
Except just imagine, and the role is flipped, and it's the boy who like designed, I guess, their equivalent of like a Jordan, and he leaves it at the he leaves it behind at this like shoe convention, and everybody's like, this is the dopest shoe of all time. We need to figure out who created this. And like the daughter of the basketball legend like is in love with him and wants to find who made this mystery shoe. And
so they reversed
like a worldwide shoe. Yeah, so it's
because you've obviously seen it 1,000 times if she's seen it 1,000 times.
I know all the songs. I have definitely seen Sneakerella.
Yeah, I thought we were done with that whole era of turning and flipping things into hip hop things. Like
I know, right?
Didn't Carmen teach you guys anything? I love Robert Townsend, but the hip hopper wasn't it, buddy.
Hip hopper, 0.000%.
This is the opening. I'm gonna just play the opening song for you guys after we're done. So, guys, this has been Grapsody. Peace out. I will see you guys all throughout the week. Love y'all. Peace.
Grapsody.